Alexandra Magistrates Court handed Matonodze a 3-year jail term while Mugabe flew back home to Zimbabwe after paying a 600,000 rand fine. Matonodze pleaded guilty to charges including attempted murder, defeating the ends of justice, possession of an illegal firearm and ammunition, and the contravention of the Immigration Act. While handing down the sentence, Magistrate Rainier Boshoff said pleading guilty and putting himself at the mercy of the court worked in Matonodze's favor.
It took some guts from you to plead guilty to all these counts. So basically what you did is you put yourself, number 2, at the mercy of this court by pleading guilty. So that says quite a lot in your favor.
His lawyer, Sinenhlanhla Mnguni, denied that Matonodze took the rap for Mugabe.
You will, of course, be aware of the provisions in as far as parole and early release are concerned. So, yeah, in as much as the number you stated sounds a bit more like he's taken the brunt of the punishment, I think when you look at it holistically, I think both accused really received the mercy of the court.
And U.S. President Donald Trump insists Washington still has the upper hand against Iran. His views come after he confirmed that a U.S. naval blockade against Iran would last months. Meeting oil executives, Trump contended that the blockade of Iranian ports was more effective than bombings. In late February, the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran in a string of airstrikes as well as bombings. This resulted in retaliatory attacks by Iran targeting mostly the Gulf region. Trump has faced intense political pressure to end the war, which has severely impacted oil prices across the globe.
I mean, militarily, we've wiped them out. They have no military left. It's all the Navy's at the bottom of the sea. The Air Force is never going to fly again. We've got an amazing military. Now they have to cry uncle. That's all they have to do. Just say, we give up.
Gold is trading at $4,573.62 an ounce. The rand is at 16.87 to the dollar, 22.63 to the pound, 19.64 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $121.42 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North. This is between Marlborough Drive and the Buccleuch interchange. Roadworks are causing these delays. And if you're heading towards Deep Kloof or out of Deep Kloof, do expect heavy traffic volumes. We've got an accident reported on the N12 East in the Ridgeway area. It's causing delays coming out of the Deep Kloof interchange.
A cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng today with afternoon showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures will peak at highs of between 18 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, suspended director of Tshwane's Asset Protection Security Unit, Chukudu Malaji, is expected back in the Madlanga Commission hot seat today.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy that connects us all.
That's what makes this one so special.
In 702, Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, happy Thursday/Friday, because tomorrow is a public holiday. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. It's so great to have you with us here on 702. I trust you're good this morning ahead of that holiday tomorrow. We kick off the show with the 702 open line on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's 072 702 1702. Did you hear what U.S. President Donald Trump joked about yesterday when he was hosting the King of England, King Charles? He basically said that his wife Melania and him won't be married for 63 years like the late Queen of England. Take a listen to how he put it.
They were married for 63 years. And excuse me if you don't mind. That's a record we won't be able to match, darling. I'm sorry. Just not going to work out that way. We'll do well, but we're not going to do that well.
Oh my goodness. Like, imagine. So you should have seen Melania's face. I mean, do you find that to be an awkward joke? Huh? Because Melania didn't seem to find it amusing. I mean, she didn't seem to like the joke. Remember the comedian Jimmy Kimmel just the other day joked and said Melania looks like an expectant widow. And Melania wasn't happy about it. So now Trump seems to suggest that him and Melania won't be married for 63 years because they will die before that happens. At least that's how I read and understood the joke. Because they've been married for how many years now? 21 years. They've been married for 21 years now. For them to get to 63, Trump would have to be alive for another 40 years because Trump is currently 79. Is my mathing? Trump is 79. So for them to be married for 63 years, Trump would need to be alive until like 120 years or something, which is possible, just not so likely, let's be honest. But then again, wouldn't you rather say to your wife, oh, Melania, I hope we live together and get to 63 years of marriage, just like the Queen of England? Isn't that a more endearing thing to say to your partner or your wife, as opposed to, well, they were married for 63 years. How amazing. Well, I hate to break it to you, Melania, we ain't going to get there. I just think it's awkward in that sense. But I do understand where Trump was coming from. I think he was just trying to say, well, I'm old. There's no way I'm going to live until 120 years, which then means we're not going to get to 63 years of marriage. I just found that to be so funny, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that. Do you think Trump is just being realistic? Or do you think that should actually be the hope of any couple that is in love, that you want to be with each other for so long to reach even milestone that many other people are not able to reach? Let's have fun with that. Let me know your thoughts on 011-883-0702. You can send your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702. Did you see Robert Mugabe's son, Bellarmine, is now back in Zimbabwe? He is home and his cousin is in jail. Remember, we spoke about that shooting that happened a couple of months ago at Mugabe's luxury home here in Johannesburg in Hyde Park. A worker at a property was shot and injured, and the information that came out initially was that Mugabe's son may have done it. But he was with his cousin when the shooting happened. And the story they told the court was that it's the cousin that fired the shot. So Mugabe was found guilty of pointing an object likely to be perceived as a firearm, whatever that means. Whatever that means, because do you even understand what that means? So what? He was holding a bottle and pointing it at... Does that even make sense to you listening to this? So if I hold a bottle and someone is running away from the property, what's the point of me holding a bottle or something that resembles a gun and I'm pointing it at someone who is facing the other way? So they're not going to be threatened by what I'm holding. They're already running away. That's why when this person was shot, apparently he collapsed just outside the gate, which is when the neighbors then informed the police. I don't know, but the judgment said he, the son, is found guilty of pointing an object likely to be perceived as a firearm. He was also convicted of contravening the Immigration Act because he has been unlawfully living in South Africa over a prolonged period. So he was fined in total, I think, 600,000 rand, and he was deported back to Zimbabwe yesterday. The cousin, though, pleaded guilty to attempted murder and defeating the ends of justice, among other charges. So he remains in jail. And he's going to serve a 3-year sentence. By the way, the worker that was shot has accepted a 400,000 rand payout as compensation. So the Mugabes in total have spent R1 million just trying to get this crisis to go away. Because it's Mugabe's son, that fine of 600,000 rand, and then this 400,000 rand they gave to this man that they shot. So we don't know if the cousin took the flak here or not. And if he did it, what's in it for him? Do you think they offered him money, or he probably thought, "Ay, Kazi, I can't do this. You are the son of a former president. You can't be in jail for 3 years." The judge, when he was handing out the judgment, also wasn't sure whether this chap has taken the blame to protect his cousin or not.
It took some guts from you to plead guilty to all these counts. So basically what you did is you put yourself, number two, at the mercy of this court by pleading guilty. So that says quite a lot in your favor.
Right? So you probably now know what likely, of course we don't know fully what happened, but you probably likely have an idea of what could have transpired here. In fact, when the shooting happened, when we discussed it on the show, some of us suspected this would be the case. That the cousin will take the blame and the son will go back home. That's what some of us said after the shooting happened, the day after the shooting happened. And it may not have happened that way here, but hey, anything is possible with the Mugabes. So first of all, what do you make of this judgment? Like, Mugabe's son is back home having wonderful breakfast this morning, I'm sure. His cousin is in jail. What do you think happened here? And also, have you ever taken flack for a loved one? Like a friend or a family member or a colleague or a lover? Have you ever taken blame just to protect someone that you care about? I think I've done it before. I'm trying to remember the details of the story, but I may have done it. Have you ever taken blame? And it doesn't have to be anything criminal. Like, it could be, something happened at work and you protected your colleague. It could be that your younger sibling breaks something at home and you step in and you say it was me, right? Because you're trying to protect them. Or maybe in your friendships. I know there's some chaps who don't sleep at home and they get home and they say, "Oh yeah, but I was at Clement's house. Clement is the one who said we must chill until 5 a.m. That's why I'm home at 7 a.m. And then when the girlfriend or wife or whoever calls Clement, then Clement takes the flack and says, "Yes, it's my fault." Have you ever taken flack to protect a colleague, a friend, a family member, a lover? Let me know. 011-883-0702. Your WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. At 10 o'clock, I'm so excited today. I'm going to be hanging out with the award-winning veteran actor Moabi Tle. She is such a legendary, seasoned, respected actor in the industry. Some people act and then there are those who just inhabit a character so fully. And that's Moabi Tle. Whether she's commanding the screen or bringing nuance to complex roles, she has built a career on depth, on intention, and a refusal to be boxed in. She's quite rare. She's a shapeshifter and quite a force in South African film, television, and theatre. So you've probably seen her on stage in theatre, starring alongside John Kani in Nothing But the Truth. Or maybe you saw her in her one-woman show, Shwele Bao, A Grave Injustice, where she tackled gender-based violence and justice, earning critical acclaim and awards. Or maybe you've seen her on television as Tando on Suburban Bliss. Remember that? She was Sophie on Generations, Eve in Madam and Eve. She's also appeared in Soul City, Yizo Yizo, Takalani Sesame, Tempi Pushers, Mera Mera. Oh, I can go on and on and on. And I am looking forward to celebrating her illustrious career between 10 and 11 o'clock. Then at 11 o'clock, we do our Thursday dialogue. Today, we're going to be asking this question. Should South Africa consider legalizing undocumented migrants? It's a suggestion that some people have made because countries like Spain have done it. They've regularized illegal immigrants. But what would that would that work in our context here in South Africa? I guess is a question I'm trying to answer when we have this conversation at 11 o'clock, because I doubt it. So I'm going to bring in different guests with different views on this, and I'm looking forward to your thoughts as well. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM.
Hi, Clement. Yeah, that was the funniest thing ever. But I think Trump, as crazy as he is very realistic. He's a realistic person, and he says it as it is. The reality is, take into account everything. The guy is not gonna leave up until they are married for 63 years. So I think he's been realistic, and I think somehow I like that.
Hi, Clement. Regarding Trump's joke, you said you just found it funny. So mission accomplished on Trump's part. He meant it as a joke. And, you know, there's a saying, many a truth are spoken in jest. It is the truth. Presumably, he won't live to a point where he could be in marriage for 63 years. So it's a truth in a joke.
Yeah, many a truth. No, absolutely. A truth in a joke. And like I say, I mean, I do think Trump is just being realistic here. He's like, I mean, what are the chances I'm going to live until I'm 120 years old? I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. And he's not necessarily saying, you and I, our love is not great enough to withstand whatever, and we're going to make it up until we're married for 63 years. What I'm saying, though, is, yes, that was a joke, but then this is also Trump. You know how awkward Trump is. Sometimes he says things in a joking way, but he actually means that. What I would love to hear from the other side, if I was, I don't know, Melania or Trump and Melania was making the joke, is, my love, I hope we can get to that point where we also get married for 63 years, right? Who knows? Maybe God is going to bless you with many, many, many more years. In fact, wouldn't that be your hope? That God blesses you or your partner with extra years so that you guys are able to continue living happily ever after? Huh? Tabogo, you calling us from Vanderbijl Park. Has anybody ever taken flag for you or vice versa?
Yes, Clement, good morning. Good
Sure.
morning to the 702 listeners. So my brother, yes, I remember back then I was doing my matric in 2003, there around. So we were left at my cousin's place in the Free State, and we had some fun. And early morning, he was a bit older than me, 2 years older than me. Early in the morning, I took the car and wanted to take my girlfriend home. I bumped a neighbor's vehicle by the robots just a street after our house, actually. So my cousin, as babalast as he was, he had to wake up only not knowing that the police are gonna actually want to test him about alcohol and and stuff like that. So he took a rap for me, but he got himself into trouble because he had a criminal record because of that.
Oh, man. After the sacrifices.
After the sacrifices, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Clement, but however, my brother, this whole thing of Mugabe issue, it's a precedent that is being set, and it is wrong. Look, I know, as somebody, the judge has got, or the magistrate has got their own discretion in terms of how the guys have pleaded and stuff like that. But however, my brother, I want to pose a question to Ken Safe. The firearm was never found. What if that firearm has committed so many crimes, right, in South Africa or wherever? However, what I'm also asking is this now: is that now a precedent has been set now for a rich foreigner to commit crimes in South Africa and pay their way out of it? Remember the issue of Kreshak when he paid about 3 million. I can't remember what was the case about. A while back, he paid about 3 million. But what is now being set now here in South Africa, my brother, it's really George Orwell Animal Farm. Some animals are better than others, my brother, but it's a very wrong precedent that is being set. And this taking a fall for him is very clear, as daylight, my brother. I just wanted to find out what is the precedent with regard to that, because now this young man is not saving any time. He's just been deported. He's now sitting comfortably in his duvets at home.
Yeah.
And, it's really, for a fellow South African, maybe somebody that is now a layman on the street, commits such a heinous crime like that. and it's going to pay their way out of it.
Sure, yeah, Tebogo, there are so many concerning things about this case. So if someone is pleading guilty to one, attempted murder, and two, defeating the ends of justice, where's the firearm? Do we know if they found the firearm? Because the last time the police went and they checked even in the pool, because it seemed like they were trying to hide it. So the first question I would ask is, okay, what were they able to find from that firearm? Because isn't it easy to check the prints, like who fired the shot? Have the police been able to establish that? So I get what you're saying. The precedent that is set here is quite concerning. But then again, if someone confesses and there's no evidence that contradicts that, then what do? What I'm surprised about is the wording here of Robert Mugabe's son, that he's found guilty of pointing something that could resemble a firearm. Either it was a firearm or it was not. How do we know that he pointed something? Is it because there's CCTV camera that they looked at? And if there's CCTV camera that they looked at that exists, then did the police bring it up as evidence in court to say, look, this is the person who shot the worker? It's just very suspicious. But all I remember is after the shooting happened, the next day we spoke on the show. And some of us said, watch Mugabe go back home to Zimbabwe. Watch the cousin take the flag. Is it what happened this time around? We don't really know. But it seems like it transpired exactly that way, at least from where I'm sitting. I don't know what your thoughts are. 011-883-0702.
Hi, Clem. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Patrick in Pretoria. Yeah, I've done that. I've taken a slack on my cousin. In fact, it's 2 weeks ago. He went somewhere. He didn't come back home. And the wife called me, and I had to play what we call position number 5. I had to protect him. And then I immediately called him, and then I told him what I told the wifey, and all was settled. And the wifey bought the story.
Yeah. I mean, that's like premeditated murder. You know, there's murder, and then there's premeditated murder. Like for you to like build up a story like that and then call him and say, hey, this is what I told your wife, by the way. But the reality is, haven't a lot of us done that for our friends? Huh? Have we not done that when they've arrived home late or for whatever reason? And it doesn't have to be because there was infidelity involved, but because they got home in the early hours or at 3 a.m. And then as friends, because we know how strict maybe their partners are, we come out and we say, no, I'm the one who said that. I'm the one who said we must stick around until 3. Sorry, or I hid his car keys. Have you ever taken flack for a friend, for a partner, for a colleague, because you just wanted to protect them? Huh? Or has someone taken flack for you?
Payments back when weed was still, illegal in this country. My ex and I decided that we wanted to, get some weed. And I knew where to get, or we always used to get. However, she was with some friends of hers, some guy friends in the neighborhood that day, and they wanted to go to a different location. We ended up going, unbeknownst to me, that the reason they wanted to go that far out is because they wanted other stuff. I was not aware at that moment. However, when we got stopped and searched at Northgate, it so happened that this package found its way under my seat. And by the time I could see what was going on, I knew it was going on, and it was my vehicle was under my seat. I took the raps. I think that day I ended up paying like 5,000 Rand at Honeydew police station to get out that night. Then I was supposed to go to court the next day. Got there, my case was struck off the roll because it was an insignificant amount, apparently. But yeah, Never spoke to her since that day. Turns out she was dating one of the guys. So yeah, man, just a terrible situation all around that I found myself in.
Wait, what do you mean? Dating one of the guys, meaning what? The police officers? Huh? When you say she was dating one of the guys, like who? Who was selling you the weed, or the police officers who stopped you? Because then I've got a lot of questions. Like, did she try to frame you? Did she call the police and say, hey, we're going to be driving in Northcliffe at this time, put up a roadblock? But this is interesting because there are instances where when you are in the car with your wife or with your girlfriend, you may want to, because there's this expectation as a man that you are the protector, hey? And maybe even when it's your wife or your girlfriend that has done something wrong, you want to protect them. And trust me, the expectation from them is probably that you take the flak. Have you ever done that on the basis of, but this is my wife and I must be seen to be the protector here, so let me just take this flag, or this is my girlfriend and I must be seen to be the one that just... Because, if someone walked in when you are having dinner, with your girlfriend, what do? Do you run away or do you try protect your girlfriend? And I suppose that's the essence I'm using here. In a case where you have to take the blame, do you sometimes feel like you're influenced by the expectation that you must protect? Huh? The expectation that you must be, you're the head of the household, be the protector. Let me know of your stories. 011-883-0702. More of your WhatsApps after the headlines on 072-702-1702. Sfiso has the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. It's Mbali, in fact, who's got the latest. Mbali, my goodness, this story around Edgar Lungu and his family and the Zambian government is not going away.
It's definitely not going away, Clement, but the legal dispute between that family of former Zambian President Edgar Lungu and the Zambian government returns to the Pretoria High Court this morning for a battle over his remains now. It's been more than 10 months since Lungu died in South Africa, where he was receiving medical attention. But despite an order by the Pretoria High Court in August last year that Lungu's remains should be repatriated to Zambia for a state funeral, his family escalated its bid to stop the repatriation to the Supreme Court of Appeal. A doctor is expected to appear in the Madadeni Magistrates Court in KZN today following his arrest on sexual assault charges. The 69-year-old is accused of assaulting 4 of his female patients, with some alleging he forced them to perform sexual acts on him. He was arrested at his workplace yesterday by detectives from the Sexual Offences Unit working with the Madadeni police. And several parts of the country can expect harsh weather conditions from today following a warning for severe thunderstorms. The South African Weather Service has forecast heavy rainfall for the Northwest, Northern Cape, Eastern Cape, as well as the Free State provinces. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Traveling in 4 ways, we've got a major accident seen on the N1 North. It happened right near Winnie Mandela Drive. It is causing heavy traffic volumes. And then if you're traveling on the N12 East, remember we spoke about another accident scene that happened right near Xavier off-ramp. It's still there, causing heavy traffic volumes coming out of the Diepkloof interchange. While on the N3 North, we do have delays. This is between Marlborough Drive and the Baklu interchange. That's due to another accident scene there. So please be on the lookout and drive with care. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Do you struggle with IBS, constipation, diabetes, ulcers, or other chronic conditions? The Roots Health Center, founded by Dr. Tabang Molefi, focuses on treating the root cause. Their holistic services include blood analysis, detox programs, colon hydrotherapy, and herbal medicine. Visit their Soweto or Spruitview branches with Walkerville opening soon. Visit the Roots Health Center.co.za for more information. Roots Health Center, restoring your health naturally.
Some moments are personal. Some spaces are professional. All of them deserve care. At Frond and Filigree, we create handcrafted floral experiences for life's meaningful moments and the places where they happen. From birthdays and anniversaries to hotels, offices, and events, our bespoke arrangements are designed with artistry and intention. Because when flowers are done right, they elevate every moment. Visit frondandfiligree.co.za.
Do you have a car you like to sell, but don't trust your uncle or your pal? Then we buy cars, it's just for you. Buying cars is what we do. We offer service with a smile. We always go the extra mile. Use a place that you trust and sell your car to us.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
Ah, Shane, do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers two options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual action, soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple action, pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
25 minutes before 10 o'clock. This is the 702 open line on this Thursday/Friday morning. It's a public holiday tomorrow, so on the open line this morning, a number of issues we are discussing. We have been talking about Donald Trump and the joke about whether or not he will live up to the age where he would have been married to Melania for about 63 years. But I've been interested in what flack you have taken for your friends, or the flack your friends have taken for you to protect you, or you did it to protect them. It could be friends, it could be lovers, it could be colleagues, it could be your siblings. Have you ever taken blame for something you didn't do just because you wanted to protect your colleague, your sibling, your lover, your friend, your neighbor, whatever the context is? Because Robert Mugabe's son is now back at home, likely waking up in beautiful juvets, having wonderful breakfast, but his cousin is in jail because the cousin has pleaded guilty to attempted murder. Remember that shooting that happened at Mugabe's luxury home here in Johannesburg? It happened in Hyde Park. So Robert Mugabe's son has now left the country. He's been deported back to Zimbabwe. He had to pay 600,000 rand of a fine, but the cousin has to serve 3 years in jail. The person that they shot, who was working at the household, has been given 400,000 rand as a payout, just as compensation. And I've been asking what you make of this judgment, but an additional question to that is, have you ever taken blame to protect someone? You took the blame for something you didn't do because you wanted to protect someone. Or maybe someone else did that for you, right? They took the blame for something they didn't do because they wanted to protect you. And what was that? Let me know, please, on 011-883-0702. Dog says, Clement, I prefer the outcome of the Mugabe case. Deported and banned from entering South Africa. It's a good outcome. Just like just like his mom, who is also banned. The alternative is a dragged out case. I don't know if he's been banned from ever entering South Africa again. I'm not sure if that's the case, but we'll verify that. From what I've seen and read and what I heard in court yesterday, that wasn't one of the conditions, that he must never, ever, ever enter this country again. Trust me, he could very well even be back here by tomorrow, knowing what we often experience at our borders and the kind of corruption that exists where people constantly cross over. They constantly cross over. People are here as asylum seekers, quote unquote, and yet they still go back home to visit their families. They still go back home to bury their loved ones, and then they still come back here as asylum seekers. That's not how it works. When you have left your country because you are persecuted, how do you go back to celebrate Christmas? How do you go back to celebrate your mom's birthday, to go to a burial? The point I'm making is, sure, even if the court said you are banned from coming back here, do you really think that Robert Mugabe's son, with the kind of resources they have, do you think it would be difficult for him to find himself in South Africa again? He's been living here for a prolonged period. Nobody picked that up until this matter happened. And it emerged in court. You think he wouldn't be able to come back to South Africa to live and nobody's going to pick it up again? Let's go to your WhatsApps.
Clement, I had a boss who was very, very, very busy. And the other time he went with this other lady, he left his phone. The wife kept calling, and I'm in a shop. I'm left with the store. And he kept calling the whole day. And I ended up, when I closed the shop, I ended up taking the phone with me to my flat. Velma kept calling. I answered. I say, Velma, your husband didn't show up until we closed the shop, so the phone is with me. I'm only answering because I see now you've been calling the whole day. But tomorrow I'm going to open the store and I will let him know. But you will also see the missed calls. Only after I've left that place, I heard that the wife was suspecting it was me who took the husband.
Evan. Oh my goodness. So and I suppose in that case you were not even protecting the husband. You were just saying that, well, he left his phone here and I see you calling, you're probably worried. Let me just assure you, I've got his phone, he's just not here. But for her to come back and think that you are the one that somehow stole her husband from her is quite wild. Another person says, Clement, I just prefer not to lie. Imagine going to hell for lies. I refuse. A lady once relayed a story of how her husband did not return home the day after a night out with friends. She called his friends, and each one she spoke to told her he had had too much to drink and would be home later once he's awake, only to find his body in the mortuary. Oh my goodness. That's a message there from Ross. That is so tragic, hey? Imagine the friends are trying to protect someone and they're like, no, don't worry, he's had too much to drink, he'll be home soon, only to find that, well, he's actually in the mortuary. Another one says, Clement, it's Zola. I actually did something similar this past December. We had a family ceremony and my brother's wife came, but later wanted him to go back with her to her parents' house. He didn't want to go. Luckily, it was my sister's birthday on the 22nd of December. So I sent a message to the family group, including her, suggesting we throw a party for my sister instead, just to keep him home. He stayed and later joined her in Cape Town back at their house. Oh my goodness. You're a good sister. That's all I'm going to say. You're a good sister. But what is this thing about being scared to go to the in-laws? Is that like a thing? Because I hear it a lot. When it's time for people to go visit their in-laws, they're like, oh, do I have to do this? I mean, I love my own space. Like, I really love my space. I don't know how I would be in an environment where I'm there for like, I mean, I can go for a night, spend a night, or magnum sebenzi because everybody is busy. But if there's nothing like that and we're just going, what are we going to do? Huh? So I get it. But I want to know, maybe you have in-laws that you are maybe friends with or that you get along with so well. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying people who don't like going to their in-laws, they don't get along with them. It's just that maybe that's just an awkward environment for them. They just love being in their own homes. So whether they go visit the in-laws or the in-laws come to visit them, that still becomes like a thing, where you're thinking, do I have to? So please let me know what your experiences have been about that. But the fundamental question we've been asking this morning is the flag. Have you taken flag for your friend, your lover, your family member, your colleague? Have they done that for you because they were trying to protect you?
Hi, Clement. Back in 2008 or so, when I was an engineer at one company in KZN, I used to work with this lady who was also an engineer. So one day in the meeting, an operator's name came up, operator in the plant, that he made a mistake, and I think he was on final warning. So when they said, who did that? And then someone mentioned the operator's name. That lady, the engineer, jumped in and said, no, it was actually not him, it was me. I was working on the software in the plant, and yeah, that's how the mistake happened. And then the manager said, okay, and then we moved on. Yeah, so she saved him because I think he was on final warning. Witness, Centurion.
Yeah, witness. That's interesting. Ndau on Twitter says, Clement, claims of the judiciary being captured by the rich are true. The Mugabes have committed crime both in Zim and abroad, but have never served time in jail. Julius Malema fired celebratory shots and got 5 years. Mugabe attempted murder, got 3 years. I'm really disappointed. That's a message from Ndau there. And then Tabo says, hi, Clement. For the first time ever, I don't think that joke by Donald Trump was awkward. I took it as a realistic joke. It's the truth. They'll never beat that record. It's humanely possible. But is it humanly possible? Because, I mean, when you check out Google, the oldest fully authenticated person to have ever lived for 122 years. I think it's Jeannie Calmet from France, if I'm not mistaken. So is it humanely possible? People have done it before. So shouldn't that be your hope? And I know there are other people like us who don't really want to grow so old that we are incapacitated and unable to do things for ourselves. And maybe Trump is one of those. That's why he's saying, well, we're not going to get there. But I'm just saying it is possible. It could be that you will live at least until 110, 115, 120. It's becoming less and less likely these days, but that doesn't mean it is not possible. More of your WhatsApps.
Hi, Clement. Interesting topic about taking a flag for someone. I've actually taken a flag for my husband. Yep. He missed work and his employer started calling, and I had to say that I'm the one who's sick and he couldn't come to work because I'm sick and he's taking me to the doctor. So, yeah. Anyway, great show as always. Mandy from Lenasia South.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
My show is about getting you informed by the time you get to the office, your place of business, or wherever you need to go. Hopefully, you have a fairly good idea what's happening in Johannesburg, in Gauteng, and around the world. We want you to be part of those water cooler conversations, and you will be part of those conversations because you'll be a better informed citizen. What I like about the 702 family and 702 land is the ecosystem that we have built, the community. It's all about connection because we may be different, but ultimately the people you talk to and the people you hear are facing issues just like you.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m.
Breathe in, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. In, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. Again, in, insurance. Out, pineapple. Again and again.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Evolution doesn't wait. Introducing the Changan Uni S. Unexpected, unmistakable, uncompromising. Engineered to a higher standard, unlike anything in its class. Unsurprising really from China's oldest automaker. Trusted by 30 million drivers worldwide. Visit chang'anmotors.co.za for more. The Chang'an Uni S. Chang'an. Driven to evolve.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
12 minutes before 10 o'clock. We're just about to wrap up the 702 open line. I'm taking your calls on 011-883-0702. Your WhatsApps are coming on 072 702 1702. Masabata on Twitter, on the WhatsApp line says, "Hi Clement, Adam took the flag for Eve and we are now in this mess." Wait, but did Adam take the flag for Eve? Or Eve just gave him the apple to eat? And also, they were punished together, Mos. When they punished together, like, didn't God say, some people who know the Bible, please help us out here. When Eve gave Adam the apple to eat, didn't God punish both of them? Or did God only punish, like, Adam or Eve? Because my recollection, and I am not a Bible scholar, but my recollection is that the punishment was on both. So please remind us, please, some of us who may not remember the details, because Masabata on the WhatsApp line says Adam took the flag for Eve, and that's why we're in this mess. And what do you mean in this mess, Matabata? Natalie, you're calling us from Pretoria. Good morning.
Hi, Clem.
Hey.
Good morning.
Sure.
So mine was weird. I was fresh at work, was given a brand new company car, which I bumped over a weekend. On Monday, I went
Whose
back.
car was that? Was that your work car?
Yeah, it was my work car.
Okay.
It was one of the benefits, but it was a company car.
Mm-hmm.
So on Monday, I went back and I told my boss I had a bit of an incident over the weekend. It was a rough weekend. And what I did was I went to some backdoor guy to paint it. And the paint was offish. The paint was offish. So I told my boss, and my boss said, if you think good work was done, you don't have to say anything about it. Now, my boss then went to his boss, who happened to be the general manager, and he was just one of those guys that all of us were petrified of. Told the guy, and the guy said, well, if no one noticed, I'm sure we can keep quiet about it.
Yeah.
2 weeks down the line, the technical manager who's supposed to inspect all the cars randomly picked up the offish color. And they opened a disciplinary for me. And guess what? The two people that had to arbitrate the disciplinary, and it was a big one, was my immediate boss and the general manager that he had told.
Wow.
So I go to the disciplinary. It's rough. These people are coming down on me like tons of bricks. And I'm giggling throughout the whole disciplinary because I'm thinking, why are you so hard on me? I didn't say it out loud.
Yeah.
You know the truth. Can't you just say you ill-advised me and just drop the whole thing?
Yeah.
So when I thought, this is getting rough, I'm actually going to get dismissed from my first job. I said, you know what, if this is going to bring the department into disrepute, rather I resign. And I walked out of the meeting.
And?
So luckily, they came back the same afternoon to say, well, it was your first offense and you actually a good employee. Yeah.
I hope you bought your boss flowers, Natalie. You owe your boss a lot.
Okay, well, 20 years later, I'll buy them flowers.
Do so. But just out of interest, Natalie, when you said to your boss, hey, it was a rough weekend, like, was it just like a bump, or was it like a reckless thing that happened on your side when the car got damaged?
I was a new employee. I was new at drinking. I was new at driving.
Yeah.
So it was a
Ish,
combination of
that
those three things.
excitement.
That excitement.
Shame.
That
Listen,
excitement.
we all make mistakes. Natalie, thank you for calling. What a story. Hey? Yeah, what a story. Thank you for sharing it with us. Lindeni in Kailami, hi.
Hi, Clement. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. I would love to speak about visiting the in-laws, especially if you
Yes.
are
Mm-hmm.
the brother-in-law, like you are usbari to us, ne?
Yeah.
I just feel like the whole weekend or Christmas time is too much. I will make an example with us at home. We are 10, and then we only have 2 brothers. We have 2 Makotis. The rest of us is the sisters. Imagine you with us at home. We are home. We are talking about our childhood, whatever. We are laughing. What are you sitting there doing? Honestly, I just feel like it's unfair. Yes, the sisters-in-law, they've been with us. We live with them most of the time. They've blended. But for Usbari to come and to come for Christmas, for me, I just feel like it's uncomfortable.
Are you married,
but if
Wena
they
Lindeni?
come- No, I'm not. But most of my sisters are.
And then do they also go to like their in-laws during Christmas time and stuff?
They do, but the way we are at home, because we're such a big family,
Yeah.
if they're not at home, they wish. I remember there was a time when my sister asked me to call the in-laws to say at home they are asking that she must come because there's a meeting. But we have a very good Sibaris, ne?
Okay.
They actually kind of understand the kind of bond we have. So what they do, it's either they will go for New Year's to the in-laws on the husband's side, but come Christmas time, most of the time they are at home.
Yeah, Sahambe, for a night, Lindeni. Like we arrive
Yeah,
at
just a
midday,
night.
spend the night.
Yes.
Tomorrow by 11, we're out. Why am I sitting there with my in-laws and forcing conversations?
Imagine, what are you saying to my
Sitting
brothers?
in-
The whole weekend you're sitting with my brothers.
How?
What are you saying to them?
I agree with you, Lindeni. I agree with you. It's just unnecessary, guys. Just also, I hope, I wish marriages were set up in a way that we can be comfortable enough to say, yo, it's Christmas. I'm going home to spend it with my family and my cousins. You go if you want. Maybe you've got also a very close-knit family and you love spending Christmas with them. You can also decide to do that and it doesn't become weird. And yes, maybe we can have a Christmas lunch or Christmas breakfast and then go our separate ways. And then we come back maybe in 2 days' time and continue our holidays. But then we are forced to structure our marriages and our partnerships in this particular way because that's how they've always been done. Let's be a little creative, guys. Trust me. Be a little creative. That's going to add some spice in your relationship or marriage.
Hi. There was a video that was circulated about a radio host in Australia that played pranks. And in this scenario, he had called a total stranger, telling them he's going for a job interview. And they needed him to act as a reference. This guy actually played along with it. He pretended to be friends with this guy for a very long time. The co-host had called this person pretending to be the potential employer, asking him questions, and this total stranger really did play along and gave such good recommendations about this person. It was actually quite interesting.
Morning, Clement. Clement, no, with the Adam and Eve's story or saga, Adam did blame what's her name, Eve when God asked him, what has he done? He said, it's this woman that you gave me. So he blamed her. He didn't take the blame. Yes, both of them were punished, but he blamed Eve for the transgression that they have made. This is AJ from Kliptown.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it was Adam who said, no, God, it's this woman you gave to me who gave me the apple. Hey, this gender, hey?
The Bet Blast is on with Hollywood bets and bet games. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million rand from the 1st to the 30th of April 2026. The fresh, funky games in the Bet Games portfolio will set your pulse racing while offering many chances for big wins. Bet 2 rand or more on slots, 10 rand or more on crash games, and 10 rand or more on live casino games to be in the running to reap rich rewards. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Mzansi Ballet proudly presents Heal the World, an inspiring new ballet set to the iconic music and global legend Michael Jackson, choreographed by South African prima ballerina and award-winning choreographer Angela Revi in collaboration with renowned Mexican guest dancer and choreographer George Wade. This powerful production celebrates dance as a force for connection, healing, and transformation. It tells a deeply human and emotionally charged story of resilience and self-discovery. Heal the World runs from the 13th of May to the 7th of June at the Peter Torin Theatre at Monte Casino. Get your tickets now through web tickets.
Switching was so quick and easy. I'm happy with the premium that I'm paying now.
Outsurance Business Insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a guaranteed premium for 12 months even if you claim? For electrical, tradesman services, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer FSP. TCs and information online.
Everybody who lives in this incredibly diverse place knows that Joburg is more than just a city. It's a vibrant beat that runs through our veins, an unmistakable rhythm connecting us all. So in celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi to call on you to walk the inner city with us in the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk Babize Bonke. It's happening on Sunday, the 26th of July, and we're uniting in this iconic Joburg CBD, the home of movers, shakers, operators, and change makers. And this is your chance to walk with purpose and be part of something truly remarkable. You can enter right now because entries are now open. Rush there quickly on primemediaplus.com and get ready for the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, hosted by the city of Johannesburg. Walk with the people. Walk for the people. Work for our Jozi. Babize bonke. More on primemediaplus.com.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. Lawyers for Tshwane's suspended director for the Asset Protection Security Unit, Chukudu Malaji, have requested a postponement of his testimony. Malaji is scheduled to testify today at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. He is implicated in testimony before the commission that he allegedly gave preferential contractual work to implicated company Gubi's 85 Solutions. It's understood his actions led to the municipality exceeding its security budget. Malaji's attorney, Busiso Nkosi, says his client is struggling to access documents from the Tshwane municipality that will assist in his defense before the commission.
One of the issues, and which was quite making things difficult for him to give proper answers, that he was not getting the documents that he needed from his workplace. We are all aware, commissioners, is on suspension and is currently undergoing a disciplinary process there.
The legal dispute between the family of former Zambian President Edgar Lungu and the Zambian government will return to the Pretoria High Court this morning for a battle over his remains. It's been more than 10 months since Lungu died in South Africa, where he was receiving medical attention. But despite an order by the Pretoria High Court in August last year that Lungu's remains should be repatriated to Zambia for a state funeral, his family escalated its bid to stop the repatriation to the Supreme Court. Khomotso Modise reports.
When Judge Aubrey Ledwaba handed down a judgment in August last year that former Zambian President Edgar Lungu's remains should be buried in his home country, the Lungu family approached the Supreme Court to appeal this decision. But according to the Zambian government, they missed their deadline to file papers in the appeal court and their appeal had lapsed. This prompted the Zambian government to collect Lungu's remains from the family's mortuary to begin the repatriation process. But last week, the Lungu family approached the Pretoria High Court on an urgent basis and had a hearing after 10 in the evening, which resulted in an order in their favor saying Lungu's remains must be returned to the family's mortuary. The Zambian government wants the court to reconsider this order, saying they were not informed of the urgent application and could not oppose or respond. They also insist Lungu's family and its lawyers acted in bad faith. Khomza Modise, Eyewitness News.
We take you now to a story which contains some disturbing details. A KZN doctor linked to a number of sexual harassment cases will make his first court appearance this morning. The doctor is accused of targeting his female patients, allegedly touching them inappropriately. He was nabbed following various complaints about him to the police. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
The 69-year-old doctor is accused of unnecessary touching women's breasts and private parts during consultations at the government hospital in Newcastle. It's alleged he would also force the victims to perform sexual acts on him. According to the police, this has been happening since August last year. Officers say they received an anonymous tip-off leading to his arrest. The doctor is due to appear in the Madadeni Magistrates Court tomorrow. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Newcastle.
Several parts of the country can expect harsh weather conditions from today following a warning for severe thunderstorms. The South African Weather Service has forecast heavy rainfall for the Northwest, Northern Cape, Eastern Cape and Free State. It says the thunder showers are linked to a cut-off low which can result in prolonged severe conditions. Forecaster Munewa Singa has urged residents in the affected provinces to exercise caution during the heavy rains.
Temperatures are also expected to drop over the affected areas. Members of the public are urged to exercise caution, avoid flooded roads and low-lying areas, and not to seek shelter under trees during storms. The South African Weather Service will continue to monitor the situation and provide updates.
And in Tokyo, an investigation is underway into an attack after a man wielding a hammer wounded 5 people. According to local media, one of those injured was a teenager who was allegedly struck in the face. The suspect, who is on the run from police, attacked 2 teenage boys near his house in Fusa City. Police officers rushed to the scene where the suspect sprayed them with an unknown substance and fled. 3 officers were injured in the attack. Gold is trading at $4,573.62 an ounce. The rand is at 16.83 to the dollar, 22.68 to the pound, 19.64 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $120.08 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North. This is between Marlborough Drive and the Baku interchange. There's also queuing traffic along the N1 North. That's between Malibongwe Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive, and that's due to an accident scene. Please be on the lookout there.
A cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng today with afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Temperatures will peak at highs of between 18 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, lawyers for Tshwane's suspended director for the Asset Protection Security Unit, Chukudu Malaji, have requested a postponement of his testimony before the Malanga Commission today.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 10 o'clock, Dumelang, Sanbonani, good morning. Welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702, and thank you for all of your calls and your WhatsApps on the 702 open line. Remember, at 11 o'clock, we're going to be having a very important conversation on our Thursday dialogue, and this is about whether or not South Africa should consider legalizing undocumented migrants. I know it's a wild suggestion, but there are some people that are making it, and they're saying, let's look at countries like Spain, right? Because Spain has actually regularized illegal immigrants. But would that work in our context in South Africa? I don't think so. But I want to hear from the people who think this can work and how they think this can work. And I want to hear from the people who disagree as well. So we're going to have different guests with different views on this, and I'm looking forward to your thoughts as well. That's on the Thursday dialogue at 11 o'clock. But right now, we start with our Hanging Out feature.
Hanging Out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So on our Hanging Out feature this morning, I am so excited to be hanging out with someone I've never thought ever in my life I would sit across, but at least, yes, because I have grown up watching, right, the person we're hosting today. And funny thing is, before I even interviewed her, I've had the opportunity to at least spend time with her, which I was, when you're starstruck, but you don't want to show it because you're trying to become. Yeah, and that was me. But this morning, we're hanging out with award-winning veteran actor Moabi Tle. She really is so legendary. She is a shapeshifter. She's so seasoned. She's respected in the industry. And some people act, and then there are some people who just inhabit a character so fully. And I think that's just Aunt Moabi. That's what she does. And I'm looking forward to us getting to know her better this hour. Remember, you can join this conversation as well. A lot of you were excited when I said she's going to be coming on the show, and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait. So you can call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you.
So good to see you.
Oh, good to see you too.
Yeah? Are you nervous?
I am so nervous. It's not funny.
What's nervous about?
Oh my goodness. And by the way, we are at also that age. You are
yeah.
Oh my Lord.
And then get you sweating, get the heat.
The hot flashes and all.
Well, I'm nervous to host you because hosting an incredible thespian like you, I just don't even know where to begin. But I'm glad you came because I think this is part of us also celebrating your incredible work.
Well, thank
because
you.
It's been incredible.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. When you reflect on what you have done up to this point, are you happy? Do you go, I've actually lived my dream and I've managed to be the actor I wanted to be? Or do you feel I've only scratched the surface?
Oh my goodness. I'm sure you can see that I'm getting emotional. That's a difficult question because one looks at one's work as a calling, and the more you see what is happening there, yes, you can see what you've done, but you do feel that there's so much that you haven't done. And there's that little thing that says you're failing society. I've been saying a lot of this to my peers, that I think actors right now at this stage, because there are so many stories that should have been out there by now, that should, inspire our people, that should just challenge the status quo, that that's when you really ask what our role is or my role as an artist. So to answer your question, I really feel that I haven't done much. It looks like I've done a lot. I think there's still so much to do. You can never, look, when you've arrived, then you might as well just die. Because you would have done things.
Ooh, that's
so
it.
I haven't.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because I think we live in a society that obsesses about the concept of arriving at the destination, and we lose, the joy of enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
And that's precisely it.
Yeah.
Once you've arrived, and then what?
And then what? So it means you have no other things to do.
Yeah.
You know it all. But right now, I feel that there is so much, and the where the world is now, right in South Africa, it's even worse. We've got so many things, and I'm looking, and I'm thinking, I'm missing songs, I'm missing activism, I'm missing, writing, and I'm saying I'm also responsible. I'm not blaming other people. I'm just challenging myself and challenging those in the industry. This is the time when we really have to make our voice much stronger, much, I don't know, like fight.
Why do you think we're not doing? Why do you think artists are not doing that in the same manner that we have seen artists, especially during the struggle against apartheid, do? Because, there were people who took their artistry so seriously, and they said, I don't have a choice here. When there's injustice, I feel the need to express it through my music. I feel the need to express it through theater productions. And I'm just wondering, what is it about the society today that's not breaking into that spirit of creativity that still raises the very issues that are so important in our society today?
I think when we started, sometimes when I look back and I think, post 94, we were so interested in being part of the world that we forgot self. We were the Rainbow Nation. And we forgot about the struggle. Let's forget, let's move on. And we I remember clearly post 94 looking at what was even coming out in, whether it's in theaters or it was musicals, it was things, international stuff. I'm not against that, really understand me. But I think on that journey, we then forgot because we thought we had arrived. So freedom is here. Sarafina, we were saying freedom is coming tomorrow. Now it had come.
It's come, and then what?
Again. And actually, that's when the work starts. We relaxed, and there are people who are writing, who are creating. Please, I'm not taking anything away from those. But I think it, for me personally, I feel like it would have been so much. So much. This is a country that is faced with so many things, so a lot to celebrate, a lot to cry about, just so much wealth of things, and we are not doing it. I think we also try to fit in with the rest of the world, forgetting that our uniqueness is just so beautiful and deeper and stronger than anything else.
So you walked in here, and the first thought I had was, you don't age. Like you've always looked so beautiful and so calm and collected. Like you've always been so classy. And how do you maintain that?
Oh my goodness. This is the question that I get every single day, even yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm not lying to you. And my answer is still the same. It is grace. It is God's grace, because I don't know what else to say. I mean, I could say, I can say to you, it is the values that I live by. It is the choices that I've made. But over and above all that, when I look at other things, I think it is God's grace. And I'm grateful for that.
That's beautiful. What a beautiful way to put it. So there's a different way that, and I don't know how to explain this to you. It may not make sense, so forgive me. But there's a different way that you portray characters on television that we don't always see from actors. And I always say, because I've got friends who are, actors, who are creatives, and I always say, the minute I'm watching something I can see you acting, then you've completely lost me. When I watch something, I want to believe it. Like, I want to believe that character. I want to believe that that's who they are. And they're not portraying a character. And that's very rare to find. And with you, I mean, I've lost count of the productions I've seen you on. And every time you come in, like, there is such nuance, there's such depth to the character that you play that we are so convinced. And I don't know if that comes from because you are trained as an actor, or maybe you can help us understand, where does it come from? How do you approach acting and your artistry? Because it really is different. There's so much depth and nuance.
Yeah. Some of these things, it's funny because sometimes I don't even think I think consciously about certain things.
It's not intentional.
Maybe there's a bit of that because obviously there's training. You just, alluded to that. But each character has a story. This is what I'm going to say. Each character has a story, and the writers or the script will give you something, and you as a performer has to find out more about that person. That's not you. Okay. The foundation is you, because you're gonna play this, you're gonna give life to this. Okay. But I always challenge even young actors and say, what is your subtext? Who is this person? Find out about those nitty-gritties so that even if they steal from you because you are the creator of it, or the foundation of that character, you know that they are totally not you. They have their own life. So part of that, it could be education, it could be training, to just know that, know the different methodologies, to tackle that. I don't think there's also just one way to do it. It also depends on what you are faced with at the time. You are given the script, what type of a script, how much time. For example, the different genres will also be different. In theater, you would have 4 to 6 weeks of rehearsals where you really find that person. You find them, you cry, and I always say to people, you strip yourself kalkhat, like naked. That's the beginning of good performance, I think, to really strip yourself naked, that you can be able to find the layers for this person that you're dealing with. It is, all emotionally, physically. You find, who are they? How do they walk? How do they breathe? How do they react? what do they eat? It's just creating. That's part of creation.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So finding those nitty-gritties that are unique to that character.
Yes,
and honing that. That's so interesting. 011-883-0702. That's the number to dial. The WhatsApp line is 0727021702. We've got a legend in studio this morning, Moabi Tle. So you can call us or send us your WhatsApp voice notes. Maybe you have seen her on stage in theater, starring alongside John Kani in Nothing But the Truth, or you saw her in her own one-woman play, Shweleba. What a piece. A Grave Injustice. Where she tackled gender-based violence and justice, and that really has earned her critical acclaim and awards. Where have you seen her? A lot of you are mentioning Skim Sam, you're mentioning Soul City, you're mentioning Suburban Bliss, Tempe Pushers. I can go on and on and on. But before I get to your calls and your WhatsApps, because part of what we do on the Hanging Out feature is to get to know you through song.
Okay.
So tell me about Letambulu's Not Yet Uhuru. Why is this so special to you, the song?
Oh, it is so special. First of all, I love her to bits. And I'm sending her love from here. It is that, for me, she's a true artist. And true artists will always look at where they are and name it. And that song names it. You know, it names it. It says, you think we are in this bubble, but it is not yet.
Yeah.
Uhuru.
Yeah.
You know, we just spoke about that freedom earlier
yes.
on, that the work begins. And to be able to say, you know, to be able to raise issues in a way that people have takeaways. You know, it's not just about shouting blah blah blah, there's that, but saying, just have a look at this. This is where we come from. This is where we've been, you know, and this is where we are. Wake up.
Yeah.
Let us think, you know, for our children, for generations to come. That's a very deep song, and I need to listen to it because I haven't listened to it again for some time.
And what a relevant song, even today.
Big time.
What a relevant song, even. It was so prophetic at the time.
Big time.
And to this day. Here's
You know.
Mamle Tambuli's song, Not Yet Uhuru.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, good morning, Clement, and your guest, a lovely lady. I love her to bits. The voice, I love her voice. Her voice is everything. I just love the way she laughs. I just love the way she looks. I just love everything about her. I don't know much about her private life, but what I seen on the screen, love, 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 love. She's a beautiful person. I just love her energy. Yeah, man. Totally in love. Bye.
Morning, Clement, a legendary Moabi Tle. You're like, she's been part of my childhood, whereby she was like someone who, like, I was familiar, who I can relate to as a black person. Really legendary. And by the way, I've always wanted to download Kelebone. the drama between 1996 and 1995, and I cannot even get hold of it. If she can help, Date Mrutu Pretoria.
Thank you, Date Mrut. Let's get another one.
Hi, Clement. Thank you so much for the show. I love that woman so much. I really love and adore Osmutabi so much, and I've been blessed to have been taught by her mom and Soweto Ko Kaugelo. We used to say Mistress Waruna ke Mama Tando. Because to us, she's always going to be Tando from the suburban place. So, yeah, I really love and adore her so much. Thank you for having her on the show. Blessings and blessings to her.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Is there a way people can watch that
Kiliboni
production? Kiliboni.
Kiliboni was produced by the SABC. So they should have copies of that if he could find out from them.
Yeah.
It was also
sometimes we do miss those old shows.
Yes.
just
And I remember
incredible.
that one also. It was quite powerful. I was only in the first episode or first two episodes, but the role, what you were talking about, was so powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. Lulama, you're calling us from Winchester Hills. Good morning.
Hello.
Hey, Lulama.
Hello, Clem.
Hey.
Hello, Musabi.
Hello, Oslulama.
Hello. I just want to express my appreciation for the lady there, my sister.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mutabi, you are God's grace indeed. You are God's grace and calm, the epitome thereof. Even when you're expressing a loud moment, there's an undertone of grace and calm. That's just the building blocks of who you are and how you present yourself to us, even from like the first time we laid our eyes on you on Suburban Bliss, right, all the way to all your productions and seeing you at events, etc. You're always meticulous about your appearance. You're a classic. Clem,
She
International Guest Day. Bona, whether intentionally or not, Bona dogs and her
Yes.
So
she's surprised. She's like, whoa, how did they see that? Well, we're live on YouTube as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just to wrap up my comment, ngesiZulu, Mutsabi, what we refer to as Zabuna. Thank you for the present.
Wow.
Oh,
Thank you, Sis Lulama. Thank you so much.
Bongi, you're in Centurion. Good morning.
Wow, Clemty, thank you ever so much. Thank you ever so much, Butch, for bringing our darling home.
Thank
Clemty,
you.
how are you, my angel?
I am so well and blessed. How are you, Oswak?
What an honor and a blessing. I get emotional because people that I used to enjoy you with, they are no more. I'm so happy to. What a crazy woman, Ken. You should interview her with a helmet on. She's unpredictable. That one.
She is on Suburban Bliss.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Thank you so much for giving us your best, my angel.
Thank you, sis. Thank you, sis.
Thank
Bongi.
you, Bongi, in Centurion. It's 10:31. More of your calls and WhatsApps as we continue our conversation with the veteran, the legendary Moabi Tle. 011-883-0702 is the number to dial. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Mbali, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. A very good morning. Lawyers for Tswane's suspended director for the Asset Protection Security Unit, Chukudu Malaji, have requested a postponement of his testimony. Malaji is scheduled to testify today before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. He is implicated in testimony that he allegedly gave preferential contractual work to implicated company Gubi's 85 Solutions. It's understood his actions led to the municipality exceeding its security budget. EFF leader Julius Malema is threatening legal action against controversial media personality Ngizwe Mchunu. Malema wants a retraction and 1 million rand in damages following remarks made by Mchunu about him. Malema's lawyers have written to Mchunu after he claimed the Red Berets president received 60 million rand from Nigerian drug dealers. And U.S. President Donald Trump insists that Washington still has the upper hand against Tehran. His views come after he confirmed that a U.S. naval blockade against Iran would last months. Meeting oil executives, Trump contended that the blockade of Iranian ports was more effective than bombings. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, we've got delays on the N14 East. This is just as you come out of Malibongwe Drive. It's due to an accident. Please be on the lookout there. It's causing about a 15-minute hold up. There's also queuing traffic reported on the N3 North. This is in the Kelvin area approaching the Baklu interchange. That's due to roadworks there. There's also slow-moving traffic on the N3 North towards the Kilulis interchange. Please be on the lookout and approach with care. In the city of Tshwane, some delays, a slight backup really at the N1 North. This is at the Brockfontein interchange. Please approach with care. I'll have more updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
The Midday Report at its heart is a current affairs show, but it really is a show about everything you need to know about and everything you didn't know you needed to know about. Our listener is sharp, plugged in, curious, has developed opinions, but is still open to learning new things. My favorite part is how witty, sharp, and funny our listener is. What we cover every day is breaking news, current affairs, politics, the courts, global developments, science, education, popular culture, sports, books, and of course, good things too. I like to think of it as a lunchbox with a little bit of everything. What I love about 702 Land is that it is full of energy. There's always something happening, a developing story to follow. But it's not parochial. The 702 family cares about what is happening in the world around them and how we plug into that.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. Weekdays from 12 to 1 p.m.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's a home for dreams, creators, operators, and change makers. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Josie My Josie to unite the whole of Joburg in the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk Babize Bonke. So on Sunday, the 26th of July, we're going on a walk through the iconic Johannesburg CBD, and we want you to join us and be part of something special. You can go and enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the city of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Josie. Babiza Bonke. More on primemediaplus.com.
New from the House of Citroën.
Ah, so stylish.
470-litre boot space. I need it.
Keyless entry, so chic.
Cruise control. Oh, bonjour.
4-year or 60,000 kilometer service plan. Oui.
The stylish, all-new Citroën Basalt is here. You want a piece of it. Starting from 354,900 Rand. Register now for limited deal assist of up to 40,000 Rand. Visit citroen.co.za. T's and C's apply.
No one gets fit overnight. It takes discipline, and your money is no different. A Nedbank 32-day notice account helps you build financial strength with up to 7.3% interest and zero maintenance fees. The higher the deposit, the higher the return. Invest in under 2 minutes on the Money app and get money fit with Nedbank. For more information, go to nedbank.co.za. See money differently. Nedbank, we're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Sometimes all it takes to reshape the world and deliver better outcomes is a little unconventional thinking. Black Sheep Thinking, powered by Camissa Asset Management.
Today's story comes from the world of shipping. Years ago, shipping goods from countries around the world was a slow, labor-intensive exercise, and it was very, very expensive. Each port handled the cargo very, very differently. And it took one man, Malcolm McLean, to standardize shipping through the shipping container.
Black Sheep Thinking, every Tuesday on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, powered by Camissa Asset Management. Invest different. Camissa Asset Management is a licensed FSP on 702.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
23 minutes before 11 o'clock. We're having such a fascinating conversation this morning with Moabi Tle. She's a legendary actor, and we've just been reflecting on her career during our Hanging Out feature. There's so many people who want to talk to you, but I also don't want to make you cry a lot because you're already You're already swimming in tears from the messages we got earlier. How does it make you feel listening to people express what they expressed?
It humbles me. It really humbles me. And it also kind of makes you aware that, even though you may not be aware, people are always watching and looking.
And they remember you.
And they remember. Yes, they remember. And, it takes me back to even that saying that people will always remember, they may forget what you did for them, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And it's very, very important. I'm grateful to my late dad who kind of instilled those values. It's almost like he knew beforehand that I was going, he was going to pass on before, or I was going to be famous. Because I remember, I was about 9, and he would say, it's very easy to climb up the ladder. The way you climb thing will determine the severity of your fall, because life is such that anything can happen when you are at the top. You might slip, you might, something, the wind might blow you,
There's a lot of risk at the top.
Exactly. Depending on how you climbed up, the severity ya folly how it will determine how ka tsamantso o leboha le batlas bona ba ba ntseng ba o gaketsa who are lifting you, because you are not going up there by yourself. People are propelling you, they are pushing you there, they are putting you, like now all these people, these beautiful people who have been calling are putting me on a pedestal. That's what they do. And I must just be grateful enough and humble enough to say, Lord, help me do what I'm meant to do on that level that they've put me, you see. So if it comes with responsibilities, may I be able to really meet those responsibilities.
What was the impact and maybe the role your parents played in where you ended up, right, as an artist, as a creator, as an actor? You said earlier off air that your dad actually even taught you how to do breathing work.
Oh.
Right? Like how to breathe. Something so basic, but it's almost like he knew that you were one day going to become someone who maybe nevers before doing stuff, and you need to know the importance of breathing.
Yeah. That wasn't even related to performance at the time. Well, performance in brackets. Papa was a martial artist. Ne? And what happened, I had fought. I was about 10. And, toothless, because, when you extract your milk teeth, it takes longer to get the real ones.
Yes.
So by the time you go higher primary school, so it's common you'll be teased by. So there was this older bully from another school who would all the time humiliate me, because you're like the teacher's pet. You are the favorite, you're smart, but every time this person, I felt she was so jealous of me. The streets would be teeming with young people from different primary schools around. And she would humiliate me. I mean, and because I didn't have an older brother who could fight for me, I had to fight. One day, I took the humiliation, and one day, nobody understood how I got to that anger. Somebody, there's a Osdimakazo from our street who saw me, and she had to pull me and take me home. And I remember I was angry. I didn't say anything. I only cried as we entered our yard, And to cut a long story short, her mother came, and then, my mother then said, do you want to see the culprit? Because she cried to sleep. She cried herself to sleep. And when they woke me up, this woman couldn't believe it. Because by then she had, described her daughter, who was probably twice, probably a 17-year-old taller, and here am I, 10-year-old shorty little thing. So she couldn't work around her mind.
How?
No, it can't be the person who did that. Then my mother said, so you explain to me, if this little thing can do that, what would have driven it? So Mama, my dad, when he came back, he said, I need to teach you how to breathe. One day. And I'm grateful, which is true, because anger can take you to the world that you've never been in, So he taught me how to breathe. How kwatile ugemoya. So that was from that perspective. So by the time I got to drama school and realized the importance of breath, I was like, wow. Yes. And even when you lose your thoughts, take a deep breath. When you feel, I'm panicking, take a deep breath. That's your survival thing.
Yeah. Here's some WhatsApp voice notes that have come. 072 702 and 702.
Hi, Clement. Thank you so much for the show. I love that woman so much. I really love and adore Osmutabi so much, and I've been blessed to have been taught by her mom and Soweto Kaugelo.
Hi, Clement, and hi, Mutabi. When are you coming back to Skim Sam to give Meki Maputla a run for her money? Hey, I used to love you. Because Skim Sam, you were so classy. Yeah, but I love you so much. I hope you come back.
Morning, Clement. I remember that lady, Moabi Tle, when she came to our school in Mabopane. They were playing the book Maru, and she was playing a beautiful Diki lady. I loved her before then, and I still love her today. She's so good at acting, whether it's stage act or on television. I like her. Thank you, boy.
Hello, Clement. Great show. I love your guests so much. I know the very old show that SABC had on repeats. It's just amazing watching her. There was so much power, in her acting and the way she carries herself. I'm from Nigeria. I watched her in Tempe's Pushers or something like that. Tempe's Pushers. And that was amazing. Big ups to her. God bless her abundantly. Thank you. This is Betty from Lagos, Nigeria.
Beautiful. That's so wonderful. Thank you, Becky, for that, and to all the WhatsApps. I'll come to more of them because there are many WhatsApp voice notes that have come through. But let's do another song quickly before we move on to more of the WhatsApp voice notes. There is a song here, Umuhau.
Umuhau. Oh, my goodness.
By Duduza.
Serenade Choir. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love hymns. That's another thing. But I also realized, I said to you when you said, oh, but you're not aging and all that. And I said, it's grace. Kimohau. Kimohau amujimu kaneti, that one is the way one is. You're healthy, you looking well, and you still can work. And so, I actually love that hymn.
Kimohau. Ah, man. Ah. Yeah, I see you dancing there. I come closer to the mic. What a song. I've just edited on my music.
Yes.
I'm going to listen to it when I leave the
Oh,
show.
you must
Yeah.
listen to the choir.
Yeah.
You will be blessed.
I'm going to listen to the whole album.
Ah.
Already the song has just touched me. More of your WhatsApps and calls after the break. 11 before 11.
To you, it's just a glass sliding door. To your dog, it's an invisible force field to be tested. But it could also end up being an expensive vet bill. Get peace of mind with Outsurance Pet Insurance from only 65 Rand a month. You get claims paid in one day, a fixed excess, choose your own vet, and you could get a cash out bonus. SMS quote to 45149. That's quote to 45149. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Evolution doesn't wait. Introducing the Changan Uni S. Unexpected, unmistakable, uncompromising. Engineered to a higher standard, unlike anything in its class. Unsurprising really from China's oldest automaker. Trusted by 30 million drivers worldwide. Visit chang'anmotors.co.za for more. The Changan Uni S.
Changan, driven to evolve. Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
We're hanging out with the legendary actor Moabi Tle this morning on Hanging Out feature. And if you are following us on YouTube, you are streaming, you probably saw her moves there while dancing along to Omohau, which is one of her favorite songs. And some of you on YouTube are responding. Mzamo on YouTube says, "Oh, Clement, amazing woman, strength and grace personified." Morakong on YouTube also says, "Yo, she's aging so well. I used to crush on her back in the days. She has such peaceful energy." And then Madonsela on YouTube says, "She has a beautiful, calm persona, great energy, and I still remember this timeless and contagious love. Such a blessed, solid, and grounded soul." Beautiful messages there on YouTube. Dr. Mutantsi, you are calling us from Johannesburg. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Motlatsi Mokwape.
Hey, Tobela.
Oh my word. Oh my word. Thank you, Clement. So I heard this morning when Bongani says Moabi Tle will be coming on Clement's show, I'm like, I have to call my friend and congratulate you.
Thank you,
Wishing
dearest.
you all the best. You've done so well for yourself in life. This is more a Thanksgiving, and thank you to Clement. And the people love you. We love you. You know, we watch those soapies because I see your face. I'm like, oh, all right. Let me watch what's Moabi doing now.
Nice.
So I'm just wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much. What Clement doesn't know, we always talk about how we were snobs, but Runa, we were the celebrity in our young years.
Yeah.
Dr. Mutlatsi's dad was an inspector of schools in Soweto. So we kind of had privileges, you know, now organizer the youth club, we would go there. That's where I first met Lili, Nkosinati Biko. We were young, Nkosinati was a little boy, you know, and we met Bo. Can I give my boxers in South Africa from America? Remember the one that
Ali and
I didn't meet Muhammad, but come on, Big John Tate. I remember because we were already out there with the you know oh my God, because I'm getting excited. I need to breathe. But we have that kind of background, privilege, and that's why we have to be grateful because we had parents who could guide us. You know, Ntate Mokwape, her father, you know, with that organization, he had a youth club in those days. And I'm talking when we were what? How old were we?
We were young. We were like maybe 17.
Yeah, even young. So that also gave, those are the things that gave us even the direction and, you know, to help us.
Absolutely.
To make us. Oh, thank you for calling,
Thank you
sweetheart.
for calling us.
Love you.
Dr. Mutlatsi.
Clement, you just reminded me how I used to find Moabi's voice so comforting when I was a kid. every time you heard her on TV or on an audio-only project, it felt like your favorite aunt was visiting and everything was going to be okay. It was going to be a good day. The family was going to be happy. They were going to laugh. So I don't know if anyone else has ever told her that her voice just has that quality to it, but for the rest of her life, it will mean so much to so many people. And we thank you for sharing your talent and your gift with us. Kay from Joburg.
Hey Clem, this is Dumelo here from Mabuluka in Brett. Mzante's own theater and screen gem, Aus Mutsabi. You know, just a few weeks ago, from that time, I've been listening to these adverts running on 702 right now about this frustrated mother who's complaining about food labeling, the amount of sugar and the salt content on food. And I was like, this must be Mutsabi.
Yes,
Because
it
it sounds so
is.
much like her.
Wow.
I'm so hooked to that advert because of its authenticity. And man, I'm like, we are really blessed. We are really blessed. My sister, keep it up. Your sound will continue to reverberate long after you have switched the screen off. And may God open the doors for you, because you are saying that you feel you haven't done enough. You haven't reflected the true nature of South Africa's life. May God open doors for you to realize that. Love you so much.
Oh, beautiful.
Love you too.
Amen.
Thank you.
Hi, Clement. Oh, you have a beautiful lady in the show. We love her so much. She's so classy. I mean, if there's one actor in South Africa who can fit it like very perfectly in the famous The Bridgerton, that's her.
Oh man, thank you, Bongi. I just love the song. When I'm happy, this is what I groove with. Take care. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Oh my goodness, Clement. I am so happy that you have Osman Tabi in the studio today. Oh my gosh, where do I begin? Osman Tabi is so graceful, so poised. She's just class personified. Osman Tabi ke go rata. I just want to tell you now, gore o itse ke a go rata. Tumi wa go rata. I get so excited ge ke mo bona mo Muskim Sam. Like I get so excited. I feel like I don't see enough of you on the telly. Gore o ka re o ka boa, you know? Yeah. Ke a go rata, Osman Tabi. You are beautiful. God bless you.
Oh,
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Well, you can check it out. You are on the ETV. MZ.
Yes, I was just about to say, no,
Yes.
Kibuile, I'm on the screens.
And she's
and
showing us flames there. Oh, yeah. Kadi pizza. Batli pizza. Go check. Wait, so it's on ETV?
ETV every day, Monday to Fridays, actually, not every day, Saturday, excluding Saturdays, Sundays at 9 p.m.
Yes.
Yes, Mzini, and I play Osin Tlokomeleng. It's a beautiful series.
Yeah.
Please go watch it. If you missed because it's been on for 2 weeks. I think this is our second week.
Yes.
Yeah. Please go
check
back
it out.
from the beginning.
So that you get the context. Well, Aunt Mutsabi, thank you so much for coming.
Thank
this
you,
was so
sweetheart.
wonderful, and I hope you know how you've impacted this nation.
Wow.
Through your artistry, through people say you are so graceful, and you spoke about grace in the beginning before we even started the conversation. What a full circle moment. So we appreciate you, and we appreciate your work, and just know that you have left us touched differently by your work.
So much. Thank you for having me. Thank you, and I hope I will continue, to do that needs to be done, because it's also not just what I want to do. It's what
needs to be done.
What needs to be done. What I have to do by the one who gave me the gift. So let's tell the stories. let's challenge the status quo. I really get emotional because so much is happening. Our children are not safe. You were talking about, the world is not safe for us. And I think artists also have a major role to play in helping that. And that's why I feel we need to really, really make sure that we play our role.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Aubrey Masangu Show on 702.
I cover on my show issues of advisory, whether it is legal matters, whether it is financial matters. I cover day-to-day issues as far as current affairs are concerned. I cover the politics of the day and how we as South Africans are interpreting it. My listener is a curious 702 lander. They want to know what are the backstories, the stories behind what we are hearing on the airwaves. They want to understand what drives the different issues that have us talking. What I love about the 702 family and 702 Land is the fact that we have 702 Landers who are responsive, who are present, who care about their communities and who want to know how they can be a part of the process of making our areas better, but also our country better. And that for me is a great privilege. I am totally indebted to the providence out there to be talking to these people on a daily basis.
The Aubrey Masangu Show, weekdays from 8 to midnight.
In the news this week, fuel prices are rising yet again, but there's some relief for ShopRite shoppers. With ShopRite's bulk buying power, they're able to secure stock long before price increases, which means that they can keep their prices lower for much longer. So you can save on deals like Wheatbox, or maybe you want the Wheatbix 900 grams for a low 52 Rand 99, or Recoffee 750 grams or 800 grams refill for only 129 Rand 99 each. Valid until Sunday the 10th of May. Lower prices you can trust always.
Attention all shoppers.
Our supermarket shelves are full of unhealthy food. It's often hard for me to know which foods are good for my family. The information on packaged food is complicated and hard to understand. I wish we had easy-to-understand warning labels on foods high in salt, sugar, and saturated fat. We have the right to know what's in our food. Support front-of-package warning labels on unhealthy packaged foods. Sign the petition on healer.org. That's HEALA.org.
Evolution doesn't wait. Introducing the Changan Uni S. Unexpected, unmistakable, uncompromising. Engineered to a higher standard, unlike anything in its class. Unsurprising really from China's oldest automaker. Trusted by 30 million drivers worldwide. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more. The Changan Uni S.
Changan, driven to evolve.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. The Madlanga Commission has rejected a request from Tshwane's suspended director for the Asset Protection Security Unit, Chukudu Malaji, to postpone his testimony today. Earlier, Malaji's lawyers filed a postponement application saying they needed more time to brief their client. They complained that Malaji was struggling to access documents from the Tshwane municipality and that some documents were only handed to them late last night by the Commission's evidence leaders. But the evidence leaders say the supplementary documents were not voluminous in nature and do not necessitate a postponement of today's proceedings. Commission Chairperson Buyiseni Madlanga handed down this ruling.
The application for a postponement is refused. Director Malaji is afforded an opportunity to go through whatever documents he wishes to between now and 11:30. Let's adjourn and resume at 11:30.
EFF leader Julius Malema is threatening legal action against controversial media personality Ngizwe Mchunu. Malema wants a retraction and 1 million rand in damages following remarks made by Mchunu about him. Malema's lawyers have written to Mchunu after he claimed the Red Berets president received 60 million rand from Nigerian drug dealers. Mchunu made the allegations on the sidelines of an illegal immigration protest organized by a civic group March and March in Pretoria on Tuesday. Kosikona Malingamnisi reports.
In a widely shared interview, Ngizwe Mchunu alleged Julius Malema is protected because of the money he reportedly pocketed from Nigerian drug peddlers. Mchunu also claimed Malema is willing to risk his political career to defend Nigerians and other undocumented foreign nationals. Malema's legal team says the claims are false, defamatory, and create the impression that he's involved in criminal activity. They argue the statements are aimed at deliberately extracting political leverage in the build-up to the upcoming local government elections. Mchunu is a well-known public figure who openly supports the MK party. He has been given 24 hours to retract the claims and apologize or face legal action. Kosi Khona Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News.
We take you to a story now which contains some disturbing details. A KwaZulu-Natal doctor linked to a number of sexual harassment cases will make his first court appearance this morning. The doctor is accused of targeting his female patients, allegedly touching them inappropriately. He was nabbed following various complaints about him to the police. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
The 69-year-old doctor is accused of unnecessary touching women's breasts and private parts during consultations at the government hospital in Newcastle. It's alleged he would also force the victims to perform sexual acts on him. According to the police, this has been happening since August last year. Officers say they received an anonymous tip-off leading to his arrest. The doctor is due to appear in the Madadeni Magistrates Court tomorrow. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Newcastle.
There are calls for the Higher Education Minister Buti Manamela to expedite filling vacancies on the NSFAS board following the resignation of two officials. NSFAS was recently plunged into further instability after the recent resignations of acting board chairperson Mogoena Maluleke and board member Karabo Mohale. The institution's board has seen multiple changes over the past 3 years, which government previously attributed to poor internal governance. Trade Union House spokesperson Lwazin Kolonzi says government needs to prioritize stabilizing NSFAS.
As NEHAW, we want to upfront express our discontent about the systematic and structural challenges of NSFAS. The scheme continues to lurch from one crisis to another, which in essence has compromised the scheme and post-schooling and training sector.
Gold is trading at $4,573.62 an ounce. The rand is at 16.83 to the dollar, 22.68 to the pound, 19.64 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $120.06 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident on the N14 East. That's in Lanseria as you approach Malibongo Drive. Please be on the lookout there. It's causing delays. And there's also queuing traffic reported along the Mike 1 North. This is between the Crown Interchange and the double-decker section.
A cloudy Thursday in store for Gauteng today with afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Temperatures will peak at highs of between 18 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN, the Madlanga Commission has rejected a request by Tshwane's suspended director for the Asset Protection Security Unit, Chukudi Malaji, to postpone his testimony today.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
9 minutes after 11 o'clock. Sanbonani, good morning. Goeiemorgen. Welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. Time now for our Thursday Dialogue.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
So, on our Thursday Dialogue today, I want us to reflect on what we have seen happen over the last couple of weeks. Tensions rising, and these warnings of xenophobic violence that are growing louder and louder, even from voices like Antonio Guterres, right? There's a deeper and more uncomfortable question that's now emerging, right, as we see these protests. And that question is around enforcement and whether enforcement alone is a viable solution to the issue of this immigration crisis to have, or are we confronting a reality that requires a fundamentally different approach? So around the world, you've got countries like Spain that are experiencing with large-scale regularization, that is like bringing undocumented migrants into the formal system. And they're doing that because they want to stabilize their economy. They want to stabilize societies as well. And the question we're asking on our Thursday Dialogue is, should we follow through on what Spain has done? Should South Africa consider legalizing undocumented migrants? It's a suggestion that's been made by some people because countries like Spain, as I've said, have done it. They've regularized illegal immigrants. But would that work with our context in South Africa? I doubt it, but I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are. So I've got a few guests who are going to share their thoughts on this, but I'd like to know what you think. I think this is an important conversation because our immigration debate is once again reaching that breaking point. These protests that we have seen, led by March and March, have really escalated. There have been demonstrators marching to the union buildings demanding mass action against undocumented migrants, and their argument is that they are overwhelming jobs, they are overwhelming services, our infrastructure as well. And we need to be able to sit down and hear the legitimate concerns people have. We need to be able to sit down and also think about what the possible solutions are to the crisis that we're facing, which is not unique to South Africa, by the way. A lot of the countries are dealing with immigration as a crisis. And we just need the right laws, the right policies, approaches, and strategies to deal with it. So what are those? And could regularizing illegal immigrants be the answer? Give us a call, please, to share your thoughts on 011-883-0702. And the WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. Let me introduce you to my first guest this morning. We have Sharon Ikambram, who is the manager of the Refugee and Migrant Rights Program, who is at the Lawyers for Human Rights, joining us on the line. Sharon, thank you so much for making time. Good morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
We also have Jacinda Ngobeze Zuma, who is the leader of March and March, also joining this conversation. Jacinda, thanks for also making time. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah. Sharon, let me start with you. And I want to start with this question, the suggestion that's being made about regularizing illegal immigrants. Could legalizing undocumented migrants in South Africa reduce the pressure and restore order, or would it deepen this existing crisis?
Well, I mean, I think, and I want to address your point of the existing crisis and what is the crisis. But I think that in the context of South Africa in particular, and I agree this is a global phenomenon, and what's worrying about this global phenomenon is that it is particularly black and brown bodies that are being repressed by actions of ICE in America, by Europe keeping out people that happen to have a black or a brown skin for fear of contaminating those populations, predominantly white people in Europe and America. It's the complexity in South Africa needs to be discussed as well. But I would support the amnesty, and for this reason, that our current documentation system, the asylum system, is in crisis. And the crisis is caused by the fact that there is a constitutional violation. That violation is located in the administrative justice, the aspect of our constitution, that's Section 33, that says everyone has the right to administrative action. And what we are seeing is that there's a serious failure in ensuring administrative justice. And the Department of Home Affairs is not only failing people seeking refuge, asylum seekers, refugees, but it's also failing South Africans, and predominantly working class South Africans. You know, there are figures of about 7 million South Africans who've had their IDs blocked just arbitrarily by this same department. So there is a problem of the administration of documentation. And I want to put it to you that is located in our past, in the way in which Black people are treated like cattle, and the complexities of documentation. Just a simple thing like birth registration of babies was a serious crisis because you were Black and your no access to the dignity of being documented.
And we don't even know how many illegal immigrants in this country. And those who are making the suggestions are saying this is going to improve the state's ability to track, to regulate, and to even manage migration. But before I go to Jacinda, Sharon, as you've heard, during the last couple of weeks when we have seen these marches, these protests, the biggest concern that's being raised is we are competing for resources. There are so many illegal immigrants here that we have to compete with at public hospitals. We have to compete with when we're looking for space for our children at schools. And much are saying that's unfair on South Africans. So my question is, if you provide this amnesty, if you regularize illegal immigrants, how does that then answer the question of the resources that we are all competing for? Whether it's jobs, whether it's public health institutions, and how overburdened the system is, that's still going to be the reality, isn't it?
No. I just want to start by saying, firstly, and it's just something that's been repeated by through these marches and in interviews. Calling a migrant illegal dehumanizes a fellow human being. A person can be here undocumented, but they remain a human being. We know that apartheid dehumanized Black people and used names and way they referred to us as part of the process of oppression and repression. Why I say no to your point is that it is colonization and apartheid that created structural unemployment in our inequality in our country, in the economy, and it's not the migrants to be blamed. What we are doing, this discussion is detracting from holding our state to account for failing to transform our country. The poverty, we have 55% of South Africans, that's roughly 30 million people that live below the poverty line. Now, stats from Stats SA, these are verified statistics that is by one of the most efficient departments in our country, says that between 4 to 5% of the population of South Africa are foreign nationals out of 65 million people. So, just the maths doesn't add up to say that 3 or 4 million people are causing 30 million people to live in poverty or to have 60% of young people unemployed. And these are not people that are uneducated. These are people who are civil engineers. These are doctors, lawyers who have invested in their education, where, there's facts, there's records, research of how many domestic workers are struggling to ensure that their children have a better future than they had growing up under apartheid. So there is poverty, there is inequality, but it's not the migrants. We are allowing this government to get away with not dealing with transforming our country from the horrific past. And secondly, we are not holding the government to account for corruption and the mismanagement where money is looted from the state for resources that should be going towards ensuring our public health facilities function and
are
our
fully capacitated. No, got you, Sharon. Let me bring in Jacinda now, who is the leader of March and March. Jacinda, I'm going to start just with you as well by just getting your thoughts on this proposal by some people that there must be amnesty that's provided to these undocumented migrants. Do you think that that could work? It could perhaps help even our government sort of track and trace and regulate the migrants because now they are in the system? Or do you think this is just going to make things worse?
Thank you so much once again for the opportunity. And I'm going to ask, because Sharon and I had an interview elsewhere yesterday, and her and I kept being at odds about one and the same thing. Every time we talk about the issue of illegal immigration, she mentions this figure of 3 million foreigners. And I think that's disingenuous of her, because we are talking about illegal immigration, which currently ranges from 15 to about 30 million, because nobody actually knows the actual number of illegal immigrants in the country. So when she's dishing out statistics to try and deviate the conversation from what it's really about, then she mustn't try that, because it's not going to work anymore. This thing of making it seem like we only have 3 million foreigners. Oh, goodness, how bad could it be? Second to that, she can't talk about race and tell us about this thing is about black people and black people being oppressed, when we, as the same black people, are the ones that are oppressed. And Sharon over there is busy supporting it, because we are of the belief that white people are the greatest beneficiaries of illegal immigration. One, because they now can hide behind having them as their little slaves who can do all the little things that they want by giving them cheap labor. If we as South Africans know that the laws in this country demand for a minimum wage of 100 rand,
is it only white people that are hiring illegal immigrants?
Majority. I said majority, because remember, we're talking about who runs the economy here. And we all know that the economy isn't run by black people. And I'm saying, and I did say, this is an opinion. This is an opinion, and it's not factual. Now, I'm saying, when that happens, and South Africans are saying, we want 100 rand for as required by the minimum wage, they quickly say, no, it's 20 rand as illegal immigrants, because they know they're undocumented. And that's how South Africans end up sitting at home and not working, because the capitalists are the ones making the most money out of foreign nationals. Also, government officials are the biggest beneficiaries as well, because they love claiming that there's problems, and those problems are in millions. And when you have problems in millions, then you can demand more money for that budget. We know this. On top of that, South Africans themselves, and I say this all the time, I never take away blame from South Africans, from government, from even these NGOs and NPOs like the Lawyers for Human Rights, who get funded by Open Society, who's trying to create a global culture in our country without giving us authority to have a rule over our own country. And I'm saying South Africans are also contributors of this, because they're the ones that go to these salons and go to these shops and they buy from the tuck shops, and then you end up hearing children dying from the poisoned food, etc. But back to your question about whether or not this idea of documenting them will work, I can safely say anyone who believes that must, one, let's say it's since government thinks that it's going to work, I would say I agree. They can document them, but on condition that they're going to take every single one of these immigrants that they are now documenting in their millions, and they'll keep them in their communities. Because you can't say you're going to document people and then they must be a problem for people who are poor, and they must compete with poor communities for houses, for infrastructure, for schools, for hospitals, etc. That does not make sense. The people who are busy saying that people must be documented and living in Sandton, Umhlanga, and anywhere else that is fancy. They've got high walls, they've got private hospitals, their children go to private schools. So they're not as affected as South Africans who on a daily have to deal with all of this. Because when I was saying the same thing, that if those 25 children that have today died from poisoned food had been white children, right now something would have been done about these spaza shops.
Your movement has previously argued undocumented migrants are overwhelming services because we're competing for resources. So your solution is let's have stricter enforcement, let's have removals. But I suppose I'm trying to think of it realistically. How do you deport millions of people like that realistically? So when you document them, does that then not provide an opportunity to be able to regulate them? Because if you're saying deport, not everybody is going to come up and present themselves as an undocumented migrant. So they're still going to live within our communities secretly without really identifying themselves as undocumented. So we are not getting to the solution. So what then becomes the solution?
No, we are getting to the solution. One, because communities have expressed for themselves that they no longer want to live with illegal immigrants in their communities because they've seen the effects of it. So no government and nothing can force a community to live with people who they're not supposed to be living with in the first place. Second to that, self-deportation is always going to happen if people no longer have jobs, they no longer have buildings, they no longer have these hijacked homes that they keep living in. It's about creating a situation where none of these factors exist so that illegal immigrants can thrive. Lastly, even NGOs and NPOs like Lawyers for Human Rights going to courts and finding reasons why they should continue to live in dilapidated buildings and buildings that are hijacked while the owners are crying every day for their homes and their buildings that they invested in. And also, on top of that, if our government was serious about deporting people from outside of South Africa who are undocumented, they would have done it by now.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got all these embassies who have people in their country, but you'll never hear our government calling all these embassies and saying, hey, listen, we've got a crisis here. We've got millions of your people in our country, and our deportation is very costly. Therefore, we demand that for every single illegal immigrant, you fork the bill for them to go back home. You will realize then that these countries actually have an ability to stop their people from coming into South Africa in millions and millions. And once they start carrying the burden of their people in South Africa, change is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, Jacinda. Let me give Sharon an opportunity to respond to that. Sharon, what Jacinda says is we can't keep on talking about the 5% of the population or the 3 billion number because the conversation here is about undocumented migrants and not just the concept of migration. How do you respond to that?
Figure is inclusive of people who are documented or undocumented.
But our government has told us many times they don't know how many undocumented migrants are in this country. Nobody has the number. So where do we get it?
SSA produces regular quarterly reports based on birth registrations, and they carry out their surveys, the census. Those are all scientific ways of providing. Yes, it is an estimation, but it's based on there is a figure. When we hear that the country is flooded by migrants, then where's the verification for that generalization? How do we know that there's billions of people that are undocumented? How do you identify who's a documented and who's not documented?
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to bring a point.
So can I just correct there, Sharon, for a bit? I've just checked also because I've hosted the Statistician General here, and I've just also done a quick Google search to confirm that what I'm saying is right. But Stats SA even indicates that it does not directly measure or estimate the number of undocumented migrants because the census processes do not even ask about your legal status.
No, that's what I'm saying. So the 3 million or 5 million is inclusive. There's no disaggregated data. And that's a question we've got to ask. Why isn't there a mechanism to collect disaggregated data on movement of people? Because I'll put it to you, and there is research to demonstrate that there's a lot of circular migration. So people come into South Africa, mm-hmm. They sell their goods, they buy. The Limpopo, the economy has benefited incredibly, millions from those shops that are selling goods to people coming from Zimbabwe, coming from Mozambique, buying goods in our country and taking it back because their economies are in crisis. But I just want to make a point mm-hmm. around deportation. We can talk about deportation, and I'm not sure, you can Google this as well to verify it, but the estimated total of the cost of deportation, because the minister just announced that 500,000 people were deported in the last 3 years, that over the last 5 years, the cost, and this was a parliamentary reply, so it's documented, that it costs this country over 220 million rands over 5 years to deport people and back to their home country. So I think that, the proposal for an amnesty takes into account the cost of repressive policies, the cost of keeping people in detention in police holding cells and needing to provide food for them, the cost of keeping people in Lindela. And all that money is coming from taxpayers' money. So we can have shouting about deporting people, but there's a cost, and that money could have been put back into ensuring that we can invest in our public health facilities, ensure that we have more doctors and nurses, and that there won't be such long queues, and that there's no drug stockouts, because there is a serious problem of drug stockouts in our public health facilities, and that's because of austerity measures that this government has put in place.
Sharon, thank you. I'm going to take the latest in Eyewitness News headlines, and when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation with you and Jacinda. I want to hear from the listeners as well, so we'll take their calls and WhatsApps after the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. What do you think could be the solution here? What I'm asking on our Thursday dialogue this morning is, should South Africa consider legalizing undocumented migrants? Because it's a suggestion that's been made because countries like Spain have done it. They've regularized illegal immigrants. And those who support it are saying this is going to improve our state's ability to track, regulate, and manage migration. But you've got other people who raise concerns that the legalization actually would reward law breaking, because there are people here that have broken the law to be here. They've lied and said they are asylum seekers, and they're not. They keep going back home for Christmas and for burials and for birthday parties, and they still come back into this country as asylum seekers. So where do you draw the line then? Share your thoughts with us, please. 011-883-0702. Your WhatsApp's on 0727021702. Zingiswa has the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Zingiswa, another person at the Madlanga Commission was trying to postpone their testimony. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Yes, the Madlanga Commission has rejected a request by Tshwane's suspended director for the Asset Protection Security Unit, Jukudu Malachi, to postpone his testimony today. Earlier today, Malachi's lawyers filed a postponement application saying they needed more time to brief their client. They complained Malachi was struggling to access documents from the Tshwane municipality and that some documents were only handed to them late last night by the Commission's evidence leaders. EFF leader Julius Malema is threatening legal action against controversial media personality Ngizwe Mchunu. Malema wants a retraction and 1 million rand in damages following remarks made by Mchunu about him. Malema's lawyers have written to Mchunu after he claimed the Red Berets president received 60 million rand from Nigerian drug dealers. And oil prices have surged more than 7% to a 4-year high, rising above $126 a barrel amid escalating tensions between the United States and Iran. The spike follows warnings from U.S. President Donald Trump that a U.S. blockade of Iranian ports could last for months, alongside reports he's being briefed on possible new military strikes. Those are the headlines this EWN. More at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, traveling on the N3 North, we've got some delays between the Geldenhuys interchange and the Glulies interchange. There's also queuing traffic reported on the M1. In fact, both sides of the road, the double-decker section, are heavily backed up due to an accident which happened really on the M1 North. Then that's the delays that are coming out of the Crown interchange. While traveling on the southerly direction of this route, we've got delays between Carr Street and the Crown interchange. The M2 West is also backed up between Heidelberg Road and the Crown interchange. Please be on the lookout there. If you're still traveling in Lanseria, please be on the lookout for an accident reported along the N14 East right after Malibongo Drive, causing delays. And that's your last update from me. Mo Ramela Khomotomunyai will have your next traffic report at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Take a ride back to the greatest decades in music.
Because Saturdays on 702
are all about timeless tunes.
At 10 a.m.
Kenny Maestri sets the stage with the greatest hits of the 80s
and 90s. At 2 p.m., Pushaza Sibia keeps the nostalgia flowing
with more classics you can't help but sing along to.
Then at 5 p.m., Richard Mwamba
celebrates the sounds of the continent
with This Is Africa.
It's more than just music.
It's your Saturday wrapped in the sounds you love.
Only on 702.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
All right, 702 family, listen to this. Joburg is more than just a city. You know that. It's a home for dream creators, operators, change makers. So we want to celebrate this. And in celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Josie My Josie to unite the whole of Joburg in the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk by Biza Bonke. So on Saturday, the 26th of July, we're going on a walk through the iconic Johannesburg CBD. And we want you to join us and be part of something special. Entries are now open. So quickly rush to primemediaplus.com. I love seeing the pictures on the WhatsApp that some of you are sending, showing that you have officially entered. So please go to primemediaplus.com, go and enter and get ready for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk hosted by the city of Johannesburg. Let's walk with the people, for our Josie. There are so many options to pick from on primemediaplus.com. You can pick the 5-kilometer walk. It's going to go via Victoria Yards, Second, and it immerses walkers in creative hubs and, you know, that vibrant neighborhood around Victoria Yards. Or you could choose the 8-kilometer walk. That's going to go via the Main Street route, exploring Maboneng's dynamic energy and the city's storied institutions. Or maybe you want to do the 15-kilometer walk, right? You want to walk via the Nelson Mandela Bridge route that's venturing through new towns, Arts Precinct, and the lively Johannesburg. And all these routes are wheelchair and pram friendly, ensuring accessibility for walkers of all abilities. So go to primemediaplus.com to enter right now.
The Checkers Hyper price drop is back. Save up to 40% on Cross and Blackwell mayonnaise 750 grams or Gold tomato sauce 700 mils and Mrs. Ball's chutney 470 grams. Any 3 for 99 Rand. Canola fat spread assorted 1 kg. Any 3 for 99 Rand. And Omo Auto washing powder 4 kgs for 139 Rand. Plus stand to win a Toyota Hilux. Spend 500 Rand or more and swipe to enter. Valid until 10 May. Only at Checkers Hyper. T&Cs apply.
Welcome to Harold's Mother's Day Hotline, brought to you by Net Florist. We've got Mbali on the line.
Hi, Harold. Things are a bit tense with my mother-in-law.
Tension and mothers are my specialty.
We were arguing and she said if we were married, she would poison my coffee.
Mama Minnie, what does one say to that?
I told her if we were married, I'd drink it.
Wax my sack, we have a winner. This Mother's Day, go to Net Florist and get her a beautiful bouquet and a personalised luxury gown. Order before 6 May and get some Friedland chockies.
That should work. But what if it doesn't?
Drink the coffee. Net Florist. That's easy to show you.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
I presume the UAE leaving OPEC is proof of how some of these impacts are really going to be felt over the longer term. This is going to have an impact for a long, long time.
Yeah, Stephen, ironically, it's, the price is going through the roof at the moment, but this is good longer term for the oil price. When I say good, from the perspective of South Africa and the consumer.
Peter Armitage, Anchor Capital CEO.
The Money Show.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Crutches, is brought to you by ABSA Corporate Investment Banking. Success in trade comes from systems that move with speed, connect markets seamlessly, and unlock growth that works across borders. That's why ABSA is a proud sponsor of Trade Tech Europe 2026. Engineered for how Africa trades. ABSA is a registered FSP.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
22 minutes before 12 o'clock. Let me jump straight into your calls on 011-883-0702 and your WhatsApps as well that are coming through on 072-702-1702. And then I'll get my guests Jacinda and Sharon to respond. Kolani, let's start with you in Hartbeer Sport. What are your thoughts? Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, actually, I disagree with the proposal, Clement, because we are already, our government is already having a burden in the current population. So with that being part of like this, people being added in our population, definitely while we are trying with job opportunities and other stuff, I think that won't be a good idea. But on the other hand, a little bit of it, yes, it might be a good idea, contributing towards knowing who's in our country. But I think that must be prevented. Other than you must put some preventative measures to avoid that in happening, so that at the end of the day we're having this problem of trying to accommodate illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
So just to add on that, as I speak, there is one estate that I know of. There are more than 90. 7 is only South African. They are hired by a builder. Eventually, she mentioned race at some point. Yes, indeed, the enablers, they are white people that are running the economy. Let's not shy away from that. So is the builder who hires those people that are undocumented. 91 of them, 90 and 7 of them, they are only South African.
Yeah,
so you see that they are enablers of this problem.
All right. Olani in Hartbeespoort, thank you for your thoughts. I just think we need to be fair in that there are black and white people who hire illegal immigrants. It's not something that's unique to white business owners only. There are people who are listening to us right now who have got helpers at home, someone who does their garden who is undocumented, and they happen to be black too. I'm not saying white people don't do it. I'm saying that actually happens across the board. I don't think you can claim it's unique to the people, as you would say, who run the economy, so to speak. I think it's across the board. And we need to ask ourselves those questions as individual South Africans, from an individual level. What responsibility do we take? What responsibility do we have? Stelo, you're in Brakpan. Do you think undocumented migrants must be regularized?
Clement, by the way, this is a great thing you've done to bring those two different views from two different people right in your show. For quite a while, 702 has been known to be a station that is out of touch with the realities. I don't agree with this. And when I Jacinta, you are in the right side of history, and all you are fighting for, you have the support of tens of millions of South Africa. You are not fighting for anything extraordinary. You are fighting for the laws of this country to be applied. People should not arrive today from Zimbabwe or Mozambique and start working at filling stations tomorrow. You are saying essentially that the people who arrive here must have proven they can pay for their own medical costs. What Dudula did was unlawful, but soon as they had done it, there were empty clinics, empty hospitals, and that proved one thing: this country has the resources to look after its own people. We are only suffocated by having to look after other people. The only reason why it is easy for people to come to South Africa and nowhere else is because of the lawlessness. All we have to do is apply the laws. They must not come to our public hospitals, public schools, and so on and so forth without payment. As soon as you start doing that, they will live by themselves. As soon as you can't hire them, it is unlawful, and people who hire them are going to be jailed or fined heavy fines.
People are not being jailed, Stelo. That's why.
Well, they must. That's exactly my point. But I'm saying the law is right there. So what Jacinta is saying, Jacinta is essentially saying people must do what we've voted for.
But they haven't, Stelo. They haven't.
Yes,
Our government has failed fundamentally. What makes you think they'll be able? They haven't been able to do it over the last 33, 34 years. What makes you think they'll somehow wake up to the reality of the crisis tomorrow and enforce the law?
Well, the Arab Spring came out essentially because people were tired to wait for people they have voted to do the right thing, and they started doing it for themselves. Yeah. And what Jacinta has been doing has been rather peaceful, but a time will come where this inaction by these politicians is going to bring about a civil war, and they will have blood in their hands. They already have blood in their hands, by the way, because our South African women are ill-treated by their Nigerian employers. They are being obviously trafficked and all sorts. If you applied the law, for instance, I am calling not only that we reject this proposal, but that we place a moratorium on marriages with foreign nationals, especially the men who come all the way from thousands of kilometers without their women and their children, just to marry ours here to see them on the day they marry and never again.
A moratorium on marriages.
But not just that. We need to suspend, Clement, the marriages in the last 20, 25 years. Let me tell you, I'm a pastor. In my other life, I'm a pastor. I marry people. Of the 10 people I've married, especially to Nigerian, the women did not see those men a month, a week. After that, they were simply gone. It's quite clear. We invite those women who have been married.
And that's not a marriage then. That is like fraud. If you're just marrying someone just so you can get citizenship and then you go your own way, you're not even living with them. So you've lied to the state. But Stella, we've had your points. Thank you so much for calling us, my brother. I appreciate your thoughts. Someone else on the WhatsApp line says, "Hi, Clement. Good morning, Clement. If they are registered and you regularize these undocumented migrants, then you will know how many and who they are. You obligate them to pay tax. If one doesn't do that, then you deport him or her. So that is the advantage that would come as a result of regularizing the undocumented migrants." And then Cindy on the WhatsApp line says, "Clement, the population of Spain is not equal to ours. Unemployment rate too is not the same. And we're having a debate. Citizens in Spain are starting to complain about the decision of documenting illegal migrants as more and more immigrants are coming to their shores. South Africa is battling high unemployment, poor service delivery. We're not in a position to accommodate illegal immigrants. Our borders are not secure. More will come in if we decide to document them. I agree with Jacinda. Embassies must take the responsibility to deport their nationals." That's a message there from Cindy. Let me give Sharon and Jacinda just their last words here. Jacinda, let me start with you. Where do you think we are headed now? Because the government has failed to enforce the law. They don't even know how many undocumented migrants we have in this country. I don't know if calling on them to enforce the law is going to assist. Are we just going to wait for South Africans to rise up, and you think government then will probably take it seriously from there, or what is the solution here?
Yeah, Clement, I think it sounds like quite a maze. But first of all, I just want to say how disingenuous it is for anyone to suggest the issue of documenting people. The same people who are saying we must document people are the same people that always say we don't have borders. So what is the plan? We're going to document people, and then they're still going to come in, and then you're going to document more people, and then they're still going to come in. That's not a solution, and I don't think any person who loves this country will ever think of anything like that. And like I said, none of these people who are saying these people must come into our country want them to live in their communities. It's always people who live in these communities that are upper that want to subject the poor people to even more competition, even more poverty, even more strained resources. So our South African communities must not grow. I mean, schools in Umhlanga are doing well. They've got swimming pools, etc. But come to the locations, Soweto, Alex, Kwamashu, and you won't find those resources. And the reason we can't grow in infrastructure is because we're so busy nursing feelings of other African countries who have subjected their own people to poverty. It's not our responsibility to take care of the failures of other African countries. And for the fact that people like Sharon keep saying that we must feel sad for other African countries, this is the very reason why Africa as a continent is not going to grow. Let me tell you, if the likes of Lawyers for Human Rights and other organizations really cared about Africans, they would be trying to improve the rest of Africa. But that's not what they want to do. They want to see South Africa fail dismally so that they can usher in a new government that they think is going to be more suitable to run South Africa either than the one that is run. And I'm going to say it. I know you're going to say I'm wrong for this, but they would love to see the African government run by black people government fail so that they can come and take over. That's my stand and that's my belief. But just in this whole issue of immigration is a process that is legal. It happens legally. The reason why we ask certain people to come into a country in a certain way and at a certain time is to allow for background checks to be done on that particular individual who wants to come into the country, to make sure that that person is not running away from other things that they've done in the country. They're not mercenaries. They're not on Interpol, etc. But we're not allowed to do that according to the likes of Lawyers for Human Rights, because we must just take every single person, no matter how horrible they are, and they must come live in South Africa, and then we must shut up about it. Because if we don't shut up about it, then we're xenophobic.
Okay.
These same NGOs and NPOs, as I'm wrapping up, Clement, we were with the Department of Social Development, and one of the critical questions that we asked them is that as a Department of Social Development, how do you verify that all these NPOs and NGOs that are getting funding are using this money to sustain the very people they keep flooding us with? Because remember, the United Nations does not fund the South African government. They fund organizations exactly like the Lawyers for Human Rights and Somalis in South Africa and Nigerians in South Africa. So where is that money coming from, and what are they doing with it if they're not funding for the livelihood of their own people?
Got you. Yeah.
The
Jacinda.
ones doing that.
Yeah, Jacinda, I got you there. I need to give Sharon an opportunity to respond before we wrap up. Thank you so much for your response. Jacinda Nkobeza Zuma, leader of March and March. Sharon, what are your closing remarks?
My closing remarks are that this toxic culture of hating and othering on social media isn't accidental. It is deeply tied to the profit models of major tech companies like Amazon and Google and X. Our problems are one of the failure to transform our country, wealth redistribution. The richest remain a tiny percentage in our country, predominantly white people, and our government, in order to address the conditions, the lack of resources, the informal settlements, the conditions that people are living under in townships, is to enforce a universal income grant and a wealth tax. The current hating of migrants is scapegoating, where parties like MK, like the Patriotic Alliance, like Herman Mashaba's Action SA are scraping the bottom of the barrel in order to try and get people to vote for them by making all our problems because of the migrants. And our problems are not because of the migrants. The problems are because of poverty, driven by inequality in our country and by corruption like the Guptas, and corruption and mismanagement as being exposed in the Madlanga Commission.
Yeah. Sharon Ekambrim, thank you so much for joining us, manager of the Refugee and Migrant Rights Program at the Lawyers for Human Rights.
Hi, this is Michael Owen, Hollywood Bets brand ambassador. Being a champion, I know the best performances come from making the right decisions on and off the pitch. Enjoy the game, enjoy the excitement, but play responsibly. Gambling responsibly is about staying in control, so you can enjoy it your way. If you or someone you know needs support, help is always available. Call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counselling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Gauteng is currently experiencing high water consumption. To avoid water interruptions, residents are urged to use water sparingly to allow equitable supply. Act now, save water. Every drop counts. This message is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, Gauteng Provincial Government, City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, and City of Ekurhuleni.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
7 minutes before 12 o'clock, I thought we should wrap up our conversation by speaking to someone who works on the front lines, who understands immigration better than many of us. Dr. Mike Masiapatu, who is the Border Management Authority Commissioner, joining us on the line. Dr. Masiapatu, thanks for making time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. We appreciate the opportunity as the BMA.
Yeah, we've been having a debate on the show this morning about whether or not regularizing undocumented migrants could work. And there are some who think it could, some who think it's not going to work. And of course, policy is not where you get involved. But on the front lines, what can you tell us about just undocumented people who are crossing over? What are you seeing? And the numbers getting worse, or is it getting better?
Yeah, you see, Clement, when we took over this responsibility, with all honesty, and I suppose it is also well documented, people were literally just walking into the country. So that has been a reality. And I suppose one of the reasons for that, human beings operate in very interesting ways. If they realize that they can just walk and there is no firstly, any kind of barrier, but secondly, there is also not any element of pushback, then they keep coming because it's basically a word of mouth, and that's a reality. So that is why when we then had to come through, we had to do a number of things. And among those things that we had to do was to basically say to people, it is very much illegal to walk into another jurisdiction without paperwork. In as much as it is something that is fairly obvious, but the reality is we had to start dealing with people and make sure that there is a mentality shift. And on that basis, we started doing the work. And that is why up to this point, we can say over 600,000 people had been intercepted and stopped from entering South Africa illegally from the 1st of April 2023. Now, at that time, we were actually dealing with high numbers. And the high numbers were on the basis of the message not having reached everybody. But as the time progressed, I can confidently say we have started to see some bit of respect in terms of our laws, in terms of people just walking into the country illegally, and you have seen the numbers going down. Just lately, for example, Clement, we spoke about 68,000 that we intercepted on 44 days in the past. But now the numbers went down to 24,000. That is 24% decrease. And that decrease was also on the base of technology that we've deployed in the ecosystem.
What about those that still somehow, go home, who are, let's take asylum seekers, for instance, because sometimes some people present themselves to be deported, so they want you to find them because they know you're going to send them back home, and they use that opportunity as just like a transport fee that you're donating because they're not paying to go back home to see their loved ones. So you deport them back to Zim. Let's take Zim for an example, but they still somehow may find a way to return to South Africa. There are people who are asylum seekers, but who go back home for Christmas, who go back home for burials. How do we then explain that?
Yeah, you see, if we are to talk about the two groups that we have articulated, Clement, I suppose we were supposed to have some bit of time so that we can really dissect. But with the time that we have, let me put it this way. When an asylum seeker enters into another jurisdiction and they say, I'm running away from my country, I'm here requesting to be protected, they have to be protected and under normal circumstances cannot go back home, or even the country where they are cannot push them out, because according to UN protocols, that is called refoulement. You are basically taking them back to what they are running away from. So that is the protocol. But at the same time, there are certain conditions in which a particular asylum seeker, or what you call a refugee in a particular jurisdiction, can actually go back to their country. That is under very controlled circumstances, and it is actually managed in a very strict manner under immigration protocols. In this instance, it can be a person who is, for example, going to bury their loved one, and they go into that particular event under protection, and they're able to actually come back under protection. So there are very strict protocols in all of those. But the people you are referring to, which is the majority in this instance, is not even refugees per se. These are the people who are in the country as economic migrants, and these are the actual category that you are referring to. And these are the people that will exit South Africa, the majority of them being from within SADC. Because there is an agreement that they can move in between SADC for 90 days without visa, then they are able to ultimately come back. It means that they are not necessarily illegal, they are just moving under wrong pretense. So they move as visitors, visa-free, because of the 90 days, but they're actually not visitors, and they end up being employees inside the country.
Yeah. Dr. Mike Masiapato, thank you for bringing in your voice in this conversation as well.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy, a pulse, and a feeling connecting everybody. The heart of Mzansi.
It's Joburg.
In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi, and we're calling on you to walk through the city center with us.
Walk the talk.
In the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going to the iconic Joburg CBD, the home of dream creators and operators, where we dominate and history make. So join us and be a part of something special.
I'm ready to rock this book.
Because when Joburg walks together, extraordinary things happen. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk this July, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Jozi. Bamise bonke. Enter Walk the Talk now on primemediaplus.com.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is pleased to present Brigham Young University's Living Legends Cultural Tour of Southern Africa from the 30th of April to the 14th of May. Experience this internationally acclaimed ensemble featuring powerful music and dance, celebrating global cultures. Catch the performances in Cape Town on the 30th of April at the CTICC and in Johannesburg on the 1st and 2nd of May at the Vets Linda Auditorium. Tickets are available now on Quicket.
Evolution doesn't wait. Introducing the Changan Uni S. Unexpected, unmistakable, uncompromising. Engineered to a higher standard, unlike anything in its class. Unsurprising really from China's oldest automaker. Trusted by 30 million drivers worldwide. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more. The Changan Uni S.
Changan. Driven to evolve.
Thank you so much for listening to the Thursday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. Mendy Winner is up next, and then Relebogile's show between 1 and 3. John Pellman will be driving you home from 3 p.m. So stay listening to 702 throughout the day and in the evening. I'll be back with you next week, Monday at 9 o'clock. Have a beautiful long weekend, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Zingisa Chira. President Ramaphosa says a concerted effort to address the water crisis is underway, similar to government's response to the energy crisis. Ramaphosa is today meeting all spheres of government at the Birchwood Hotel in Boksburg with a major focus on tackling water shortages. He recently established the National Water